Forward lately was the last concern of Chevrolet's Bowtie Brigade as they unleashed the new Monte Carlo on Daytona's historic high banks. There wasn't a Ford in sight to watch the duel between Sterling Marlin and Dale Earnhardt. The second Daytona in a row for Marlin. For Dale, the Daytona 500 remains an elusive dream.
It's the Daytona 500. I ain't supposed to win the damn thing, right?
Oh, yeah. I like his place.
Nobody was laughing as Brooke Gordon and everyone else watched her husband Jeff at the wheel of his Chevy Monte Carlo dominated Rockingham, leading 391 of 492 laps and positioning himself as one to watch in NASCAR. And Terry Labonte took Richmond, making it 3 straight for Chevrolet and 2 in a row for car owner Rick Hendrick. Can Chevrolet continue their winning ways? We're about to find out. The 4th race of the season at Atlanta Motor Speedway. It's the Purolator 500. Hi and welcome. We've got a great afternoon of racing here on ABC Sports for you. The stock cars here at Atlanta Motor Speedway, the International Race of Champions. And what we have here for you now is a classic battle between manufacturers, Ford, Chevrolet. Remember, Atlanta is considered to be a Ford track. In fact, 7 of the last 10 races here have been won by Ford. 2 by Chevrolet, 1 by Pontiac. So if Ford's going to have their chance here early in the season, this could be the track where it's going to happen. But right now, the first 5 cars in the starting field are Chevrolet, led by pole sitter Dale Earnhardt. Here's Jerry Punch.
Paul, it may be surprising to the casual NASCAR fan that 2 of the sport's most dominant drivers in recent years are winless thus far in 1995. But in reality, it isn't that unusual. Only one of Rusty Wallace's series-leading 8 wins a year ago came in the first 7 races, and Dale Earnhardt didn't win his first race last year until Darlington, and that is still 2 weeks away. But the big story here in 1995 is the impressive debut of this baby right here, the Chevrolet Monte Carlo. Now, the GM engineers have done their homework. The rounded nose and tapered tail have produced a balanced downforce that's been downright unbeatable in the first 3 events of the year. Then they come here to Atlanta and sweep the top 5 spots in qualifying, including a record-setting pole run by Dale Earnhardt. So don't be surprised if the Chevrolet shuffle continues today and they make it 4 in a row. Let's go to Jackaroo.
Well, Jerry, you're right. We have to go all the way back to the outside of row 3 before we find a Ford nameplate on the front of a car, that belonging to Ricky Rudd. Now, one thing that the NASCAR officials have done is they've made some rule changes for this race. They've allowed the Fords a little flatter side area in the quarter panel. They've changed the spoiler in the front, and they've lowered the spoiler in the rear. They've reduced it. And many of the people say that that should have helped. It didn't help in qualifying, but the jury is still out as to how the Fords will perform in drafting conditions. And the draft does come into play here. One thing, John Kernan, the jury is not out about in the early going of 1995 is the Young Lions and their performance thus far.
Jack, to see how well the Young Lions are doing this season, and in particular here at Atlanta, you need to look no further than the front row. That's where Bobby Labonte, a 3rd-year Winston Cup driver, starts the race today. Now, 2 weeks ago, in only his 3rd race for car owner Joe Gibbs, he finished 2nd behind another young Lion, Jeff Gordon, with 3 career victories to his credit in 3 years on the circuit. Now, both of these drivers expect to have good days today, but they are in Chevrolets. Leading the Young Lion contingent of Fords all the way back in the 8th spot, Derek Cope with 2 career victories, but many people say that Derek has matured and is coming into his own as a Winston Cup driver. You can go a little further back. Jeremy Mayfield, 14th. John Andretti, 15th. Both are in a Ford. Expect to have a great day.
So in a few minutes, when Doyle Ford drops the green flag right up here at the starter stand, we'll keep an eye on those young guys as well. Now, covering the action today for us is Bob Jenkins and Benny Parsons up on top of the grandstand. And, guys, it's one thing to go quick in qualifying, another to go quick for 500 miles.
You're absolutely right, Paul. A lot has been made of this Chevy situation this year, and indeed, it's the first time in history that Chevy has won the first 3 races of a NASCAR Winston Cup season. But, Benny, you have to salute Chevy for doing all that hard work last winter.
You know, the victories at Rockingham and Richmond were no surprise because last winter, as the teams were testing and building the cars, that's what they were saying. The cars would really be good at Rockingham, Richmond, and here in Atlanta. Daytona wasn't a surprise. It's almost reminiscent of 10 years ago when the Ford Thunderbird had so much success. Everyone said that Ford built a race car and tried to sell it to the public. Today, that's what they're saying about Chevrolet. They built a race car. They're trying to make it a passenger car.
Well, in the next 4 hours, we'll see how things go. Can Chevy win again? We'll be back for the starting lineup just before the green flag for the start of the Purolator 500.
gets me to endorse the strangest things.
A green recliner? Not much of a sitter. I like going fast. 68 Shelby. And there's only about 300 and some odd made. This car rips. Pure oil now. Keeping them up's half the fun. They all get Purolator filters. Purolator. I snag them from the track. Legends live. Purolator. Purolator.
Car in the history of NASCAR's championship series is back. Introducing the race-modified Chevrolet Monte Carlo.
At AutoZone, most of our customers are the kind of people who like to work on their cars themselves. That way they save money and they know the work's done right. Of course, when they come to AutoZone, they know they're going to find the right part for the right price. But sometimes what they're looking for is just a little advice. And that's okay because we don't put a price tag on it. You see, at AutoZone, we take pride in taking care of our customers. And we've learned that when you treat folks right, they keep coming back.
ABC Sports coverage of the Purolator 500. Brought to you by Purolator. Legends live on Purolator. AutoZone, more than 1,000 AutoZone stores across America. AutoZone, the best parts in auto parts. Chevrolet, one car company has won more races in the history of NASCAR. Genuine Chevrolet. And Haviland Formula 3 motor oil. Add more life to your car.
We're back, ready for the start of the Purolator 500 at Atlanta Motor Speedway. The engine's already running down on the starting field, sitting on pit road, and ready to roll out. Today is a magnificently beautiful day. It's going to be perfect for watching racing. It's going to be perfect for running on this race course. Now, the track here is just a bit over 1.5 miles long. And the real key to that is that most of the time in the lap, you're turning. So tires are important and handling is extremely important here. Race analysis for today, we're going to go 500 miles. That's 328 laps. And of course, we've already indicated that Dale Earnhardt will lead the field toward the green flag. First fuel stops will come at about the 55th lap through the 60th lap. So now as the field begins to pull away, today's field, 42 cars, 4 provisionals, Ford's dominating the field. Now let's take a look at this starting field.
Dale Earnhardt's pole-sitting speed is a new event record by about 5 miles an hour. Outside of row number 1, for the second time in his career, will be Bobby Labonte. The second row, the winner at Rockingham, Jeff Gordon, and Darrell Waltrip, who has 3 wins at this facility. Row number 3, Terry Labonte with 2 wins in the last 5 events, and the 1987 winner of this race, Ricky Rudd. The fourth row, the Daytona winner, Sterling Marlin, and Derek Cope, who has 2 top 10s so far this year. In row number 5, driving for Richard Petty is Bobby Hamilton, and Dick Trickle, who finds himself 9th in the point standings at this point in the season.
Back in row 6, Jimmy Hensley and Rusty Wallace looking for his first victory in 1995. As we look at the rest of the cars, there's Mark Martin. Car is in practice, one of the fastest Fords here.
Benny, one thing that Paul mentioned just a few moments ago is the fact that you are in a corner so long here, and it makes it very tough on the driver as we go out through the afternoon.
Basically, the racetrack is 1.5 miles. Each corner is a ½ mile long, and each straightaway a 1/4 mile long. But you really can't use an entire 1/4 mile. The cars are straight about 1/8 of a mile down the straightaway. Davy Jones, IndyCar driver, back in row 13.
Ken Schrader has turned in a qualifying performance that puts him on the inside of row number 15. Rookie Ricky Craven, who leads his tight actually in the point standings for rookie honors in row number 16. Jeff Bodine, couple of veterans there in the 17th row. Hometown favorite Bill Elliott finds himself way back in the 19th row as we get set for the green flag here, and at least one more lap. The provisionals went to Michael Waltrip, Kyle Petty, also Randy LaJoie, and Jimmy Spencer. Well, 5 in cars will help us enhance our coverage of this event here today. Mark Martin will carry 1 as he warms up the tires here on the main straightaway. Brett Bodine has 1 in his car as he's in back of Ken Schrader. Dick Trickle will have one on the roof of his car.
Looking at Derek Cope, also Morgan Shepherd in the Citgo Ford. That's John Andretti directly in front of him.
And Jeremy Mayfield will also carry one of our in-car cameras. Here are the drivers who failed to qualify. 10th in the point standings going into this event. Ward Burton, last year's pole sitter for this race. Loy Allen did not qualify. Ben Hess and Pancho Carter both crashed during practice here for this event.
Also, Loy Allen crashed in practice really hard. That was he did try to qualify a backup car, second car, and was not quite fast enough.
Here's Jerry Punch with a report from pit road just before the green.
Guys, the cars that won this race a year ago had anxious moments this morning in the garage area. Dale Jarrett's Ford Thunderbird replaced their race engine. The muscle motor they brought here had a problem with the rocker arm being bent. They would put a motor in that was not designed to run here, so some concern early on in the Dale Jarrett pits. Let's go to Jack Arute.
Well, Jerry, what a difference a year makes. You know, last year we were in the midst of the Hoosier Tire, Goodyear Tire battle. Hoosier has gone by the boards. But here's the situation. Goodyear has brought a brand new tire here. After problems, we'll tell you a little bit more about it later as we get ready for the green flag.
Ernie Irvin is on the flag stand for the wave of the green flag. There it is, and the Purolator 500 is underway.
And a crash. Mike Wallace in the inside wall. The right rear tire is down.
Didn't even get to the start-finish line, and our first caution waves here on the speedway. Mike Wallace's car rather badly damaged, Benny.
And under NASCAR rules, these cars are really racing back to the start-finish line.
Looks like it will be Dale Earnhardt who leads them around, and he will lead for the 25th race here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. He has now led for every race that has been run in the NASCAR Winston Cup Series this year. Well, kind of an auspicious start here as Mike Wallace tags the inside wall before crossing the starting line, and let's take a look and see how it happened.
We can see as he comes off the corner, did he get bumped from the rear?
It's hard to tell, but he could have.
Let's try one more angle and just see.
It looked like that the car starting directly in back of him may have helped him.
Let's see. Try to watch one more time. It was a kind of a slow start, and how in the world did Musgrave did he get through that hole? Looks like maybe Jeff Burton might have just touched Mike Wallace in the back. Hard to tell.
In any case, Mike Wallace's car is still down here and will have to be towed from the racetrack. Here's Jack Arute.
Bob, the most important thing that the crew wanted to know is just as we did. What happened? Mike Wallace radioed into the Heilig-Myers crew that someone banged him in the back. You know, when you're getting ready, anticipating the start, sometimes you're riding back and forth and someone a little eager behind you can play a little bumper tag, but this time it was costly.
Indeed it was, as it appears that Mike Wallace, although he is okay, you can see him there walking toward the ambulance, may be out of this race really before it begins. Back in just a moment.
After Sunday, we believe in putting on our best. Maybe that's why no car company has won more races in the history of NASCAR than Chevrolet.
Sprint cars, NASCAR, Indy cars, through the years, I've driven them all.
Haviland Formula 3 from Texaco.
One thing I've learned, no matter what you drive, you've got to take care of it. Haviland is the one.
No other leading motor oil offers more complete protection to help your car run better, last longer, even if you haven't been driving as long as Mario.
There's an old Italian saying, when you're cooking, you've got to use the right oil.
Haviland Formula 3. Why add just any motor oil? Add more life to your car.
Think of all this as a large block of ice. Think of this as a chip off the old block. Coors Light's aged ice cold. So when you think of ice, think of the silver bullet. The only way to chill.
Going places that I've never been, seeing things that I may never see again, and I can't wait to get on the road again.
And when you get on the road again, make sure you do it on Generals, because General has the right tires for all the roads you ride.
Sooner or later, you'll own Generals.
We're back at the Purolator 500 Atlanta Motor Speedway. Here's the top 10. We're under caution. Really only one lap of competition. Pole sitter Dale Earnhardt jumped out in front, followed by Labonte, Waltrip, Gordon, and Terry Labonte. Then Ricky Rudd, Derek Cope. We'll keep an eye on him today. He's moving up. Sterling Marlin, Dick Trickle, and Bobby Hamilton. Now, we've been keeping an eye, too, on the 8 car of Jeff Burton. There it is. And take a look, Benny, at the left front fender. What do you think?
Where the left headlight would go on a street car, there is a dent on the 8 car, so obviously he did tag the 90 car just a little bit. Not a lot of damage, but it doesn't take a lot as these cars are trying to accelerate forward.
Now, maybe with this information, we can go back and look at the whole thing again, and it'll be a little clearer for us.
Come off the corner, they're trying to get started. We can see that Burton just accelerated and touched the 90 car in the back, and some pretty heavy damage. It's amazing that Wallace was able to hit the wall that hard this early going on the first lap.
Another angle, the same situation. Of course, the field continued on its speed. Look at that. Boy, he's lucky he didn't get that head on.
Those guys behind him are just fortunate they were not in the crash. Let's watch from the Brett Bodine in car. Watch as the car just goes right in front of him. Wow.
Could have been a much more serious situation. It's serious enough for Mike Wallace as his car is badly damaged. And by the way, he started with this team that he is driving for in this event last year. There are some cars that are making pit stops here in the early going, including Kyle Petty in car number 42 and the 22 car Brandy LaJoy.
And the white car is Phil Parsons. All these cars started near the rear of the field, so what the heck?
All right, let's go to Jack Arute, who can finish up the tire story that he talked earlier about. Jack?
Bob, very quickly, remember we had problems with tires last year in the fall race. Well, Goodyear's brought a narrower tire and a harder compound for the right side. Many of the competitors feel that will solve the problem that they encountered in this race, the fall version of it, last year.
We're about to go green, hopefully for the first time, and complete some laps here under green. Dale Earnhardt is at the front of the field at the moment with Bobby Labonte and Darrell Waltrip right behind him. The pace car pulls off of the racetrack in corner number 4 as we await the green flag, and there it is. Ernie Irvan still waves the green flag, the honorary starter for today's race, and now let's see if we can get some laps of competition in.
That's the first time I've ever seen that. Ernie said, hey, I didn't get these guys, didn't run a complete lap, so I'm going to wave the green one more time.
Positions being fought for at the tail of the field, but up front they're in single file formation as Earnhardt once again leads them down in front of Bobby Labonte. They pulled away a little bit from the third place competitor at the moment, who is Darrell Waltrip. And right on his back bumper is Jeff Gordon.
Heavy pack of cars as John Andretti tries to dive to the inside of Steve Grissom. Grissom in the black 29. That's John Andretti, the white 37.
He's running right beside Morgan Shepherd, with whom we ride at the moment. Mayfield is just ahead. John Andretti with impressive performances so far this year. And by the way, this is John Andretti's 32nd birthday today. Happy birthday. That's from Jeremy Mayfield's car, looking back on the 21 of Morgan Shepherd. Look how close they come off the corner. And Dale Jarrett picks up a position as he moves around to the inside of Morgan Shepherd.
Jeremy Mayfield, the 98 car, made a poor second corner, allowed John Andretti to get the position.
And John Kernan is with Mike Wallace.
Mike Wallace, who's been checked out in the infield care center. And Mike, you're okay, but it looks like you got a little help, a little push from behind. Did people in front of you slow up at first on the start?
Well, I don't know that anybody really slowed up. You know, we were in control of what was going on. It's just a shame the car behind us didn't pay attention to the start. I mean, we didn't even get the green flag yet. We hadn't even crossed the start finish line. And it's a shame. You know, the Heiligmeyer Ford Thunderbird was, it appeared it was going to be a good day. And I cannot believe that they can't get through the start of the race. I mean, it was just impatient on the driver's part behind us, and it's just a shame. It just really is a shame.
Mike Wallace had high hopes for today last November at this racetrack. Came home with his 5th place.
And we have a crash up in corner number 2 that will involve several cars running at the tail of the field.
Looks like Phil Parsons, a white car, is involved.
3 or 4 of them spun, were able to keep going. There's Steve Kinzer in the 26 car who is involved. And Phil Parsons in number 19 that Benny mentioned. There's Dave Marcus in the 71 machine who has some damage on the left rear. The field moves through the area of the crash and is picked up by the pace car. Parsons begins to move away, although he too has heavy damage in the right rear portion of that machine. Let's take a look and see what happened.
Well, they go down the corner. It looks like that the 11 car of Brett Bodine and Steve Grissom are going to get together.
Kinzer.
Yeah, Steve Kinzer. Brett Bodine 11, Steve Kinzer in 26. Just a little contact between those two. Kinzer spins. As he comes off the racetrack, other cars start trying to avoid him. The other 71 car goes through. Jimmy Spencer's involved. Randy LaJoy. There's Phil Parsons spinning in the accident.
An unfortunate situation for Steve Kinzer as we once again look at it. You can see that 3 or 4 cars spun, hit the wall, slid to the inside of the racetrack. And for Steve Kinzer, he finally makes a race this year. In fact, turns in a very good qualifying performance, good enough to start 23rd. But now, in the early going, after only 10 laps, he finds himself involved in an accident and his car on the infield grass in turn number 2. The safety crew goes to the side of that Quaker State car to see if Steve is okay. We'll take another break and be right back at Atlanta.
Think of someplace private, someplace quiet, someplace comfortable, someplace truly your own. Now, think of it moving at 80 feet per second. Introducing the all-new Monte Carlo, a very personal space designed from the inside out around you, the driver. The all-new 1995 Monte Carlo, genuine Chevrolet.
5Gs hurts. When the car fires up, it's power. It's talking to me. All I hear is music. And you hit the throttle. It pulls your head back and it wants to rip it off. It's you, the competition, and everything has to be just right.
Pure oil now.
Man, from that time on, all you can think about is winning.
Pure oil leader.
Man, that's a ride.
Legends live. Purolator.
In Floyd's Knobs, Indiana, people drive for miles around just to see Don Ballard. Because when it comes to car repair, well, there's not much he can't fix. You see, Don's the type of guy who believes that doing a job right and saving money go hand in hand. So he begins each job with a trip to AutoZone. Sure, it's a 20-mile drive. There are other parts stores along the way. But for Don, when it comes to getting the right part for the right price, there's just no place better than AutoZone.
Why do I think the Whopper just beat the Big Mac 2-1 in the taste test? Well, think about it. The Whopper is one big, juicy, flame-broiled burger complemented by the perfect-sized bun. The Big Mac, on the other hand, is stacked bread with 2 smaller fried burgers in between. Bun, burger, bun, burger, bun. Say that 3 times fast. Better yet, don't. You might sprain your tongue. And then how would you eat your Whopper?
The burger that beat the Big Mac. The Whopper Value Meal for $2.99 at Burger King.
Put the world's top drivers in identical cars and let them duel at Daytona, and you've got the first test in the International Race of Champions, next on ABC Sports.
Back at the Purolator 500 Atlanta Motor Speedway, our second caution of the day. We had a caution right on the start, and then on lap 6 went back to green flag racing, and then 4 laps later, another incident, this time in turn 2, and involving a number of cars. Back in the garage area, for example, they work right now on Jimmy Spencer's car, a number of others, trying to get everything that they can back into this race if possible. Randy LaJoie, he had problems with it as too. It apparently all triggered with a contact between Steve Kinzer and Brett Bodine.
Going down in turn one, that's Brett Bodine in the yellow car on the inside. The green car is Steve Kinzer. Brett gets the car a little bit out of shape. To catch it, he goes up the racetrack, touches the 26 1/4. He comes off the racetrack. Now, that's when the other cars will be involved as they try to avoid the spinning Steve Kinzer. There goes the 71 of Marcus. There's Spencer, the yellow car up there on the outside after contact with the wall.
Now take a look at it from Brett Bodine's onboard camera. Kinzer riding just ahead. Whoa. He got clear pretty quickly, though. The trouble's all behind him.
Yes, and we see the heavy damage on the 22 car of LaJoie.
Back in the garage area, they continue. Even Jimmy Spencer working on his car, John Kernan.
Paul, as you can imagine, Jimmy Spencer's very upset with what transpired out there on the track, trying to take away some of that frustration by helping his crew work on the car. They have got a lot of work to do. They're going to have to replace some front-end suspension parts, as well as it looks like they're planning on replacing the rear end and possibly a couple of the trailing arms, but they should be here in the garage area for quite some time.
LaJoie crew, they work on his car in the pits. Involved in this accident, fortunately, no reports of any injury. Didn't look like it. John Andretti, Dave Marcus, Randy LaJoie, Jimmy Spencer, and Steve Kinzer, but also involved Billy Stainbridge. So a fairly complex accident up against the wall in turn 2 started when Brett Bodine and Steve Kinzer got together.
I believe that was Phil Parsons that was involved in the crash and not John Andretti, as we had listed there. But a lot of bent sheet metal nevertheless, as here comes Steve Kinzer's car on the back of a tow truck. Everybody is okay. We have checked with the NASCAR officials, and they say all drivers are in good shape. But the same cannot be said of a lot of race cars. There goes Randy LaJoie down pit road, joining the race, but without a right front fender. We'll be back with more live coverage of the Purolator 500 from Atlanta Motor Speedway. Stay with us.
Genuine draft Rusty Wallace stock car. Awesome. One opened up.
The other guys are worried about grid positions. The other guys are worried about track conditions. We just hope the engraver spells our names right. The GSXR 750W and new lighter 1100W.
No NASCAR driver has ever won a race by himself. It takes a team. Working together is something the UAW International Union and General Motors understand. That's why we present the UAW GM Teamwork of Excellence Award to a team that best demonstrates teamwork during each race. The UAW and General Motors. Assembly line to finish line. Teamwork wins.
What, is this your idea of excitement? Let me tell you about exciting, okay? Driving around a racetrack at over 200 miles an hour, that's exciting. These are just flakes.
Well, what do you think?
These are really good. They're crispy, too.
Really?
Yeah, they're mighty good even with nothing on them. What are they?
Hey, Charlie.
Yeah.
Kellogg's Corn Flakes?
How could I be so dumb?
You got 500 miles to think about it.
Kellogg's is proud to sponsor NASCAR champion Terry Labonte.
IndyCar's best thunder down under. They hit the streets to see who's king of the road in the Australian IndyCar Grand Prix next Sunday here on ABC.
We're back under caution. 15 laps complete of the 328 scheduled distance. We'll take a look at the full field rundown now. Of course, Dale Earnhardt started on the pole, went through that first lap caution period, leading to the line, picked up the lead again on lap 6 when they came back to green. and has continued to lead the field all the way around. The second caution is a result of a contact between Steve Kinzer and Brett Bodine. And Benny, we can take a look at this thing again, and it's a little clearer here.
We're going to show you from the in-car camera in slow motion. Watch as Brett Bodine goes down corner. Now, right here, he's going to lose control. Watch as the nose of the car heads for the infield. He corrects the car. To do that, he brings the nose around right in the left rear of Steve Kinzer's car. As Kinzer spins out of the way, Brett Bodine continues on, and the crash happened behind him.
Of course, really caught up in that was Steve Kinzer, who is struggling to do well this year after coming off of that incredible success as a great sprint car champion. Right now, he's with John Kernan.
Well, Steve has been checked out in the infield care center, and he is all right. And, Steve, I tell you, what a rough year so far for you in Winston Cup.
Well, we knew we was going to pay our dues, and, we had a good qualifying run down here, and we just want to sit out there and race a little bit today, but we had a little incident with Brett there getting into number one, and, I just want to thank Quaker State and all the people on this team for sticking with me, and, if they stay with me, I'm going to make them a good race driver. It's just going to take a little time for me to make the adjustment.
What is the most important thing you're going to have to adjust versus open wheels, because you were unbeatable in World of Outlaws?
Well, it's a lot of, the weight of the cars, the length of the races. We finished the last couple races, and we was going to get out and race a little bit. I don't know what happened there. We just went in the corner, and then all once I felt somebody hit me in the left rear quarter panel. So, I don't know if somebody had pushed up into me or I got down a little lower what, but, I felt like I ran my line in there, and, it's part of racing. It happens once in a while. I'd like to get out there and run a little bit.
Oh, glad to see you're okay. Bob?
It's really unfortunate for Steve Kinzer. Like I said earlier, he came in here pumped up for this race, Paul, because he has been struggling during qualifying, but came in here and qualified 23rd best and really had hoped for good things during the race, but that didn't happen, and it really wasn't any fault of his own. Here is the green flag, and we are back to racing at Atlanta. The front of the field still running in the same order as Dale Earnhardt continues to lead Bobby Labonte, Darrell Waltrip, Jeff Gordon, and Terry Labonte.
Derek Cope tried to get along Sterling Marlin, the Daytona 500 winner. That's Sterling in the orange car, Derek Cope, the white car. There's Cope, followed by Rusty Wallace in the black number 2.
We're on top of the Mark Martin car now, through turns number 3 and 4, and on to the main straightaway.
Bobby Labonte, second place, the 18 car, Interstate Battery car. What a great job he's been doing this year in the car.
We haven't seen a whole lot of passing up front, Benny. Is this a period of adjustment, of finding out what your car can do and seeing what the other guy can do?
Exactly. Just ride a few laps, see what the chassis is going to do. Right there is going to be the trouble spot today, coming off turn 4. That's where the cars, after a few laps, after about 30, 35 laps, start picking up a push. And as these drivers, as the cars push towards the wall, they're going to want to jerk them away from the wall and sometimes spin in doing that.
Rusty Wallace and Mark Martin continue their battle for the 10th position. There's Derek Cope leading this trio down the main straightaway. And Jerry Punch has a report from the pit area. Jerry?
Well, Benny Parsons, unfortunately, the dreaded push here in Atlanta did not wait for 30 laps. It is showing its head here at lap 20. A couple of cars in the top 5 are already complaining as Rusty Wallace makes a pass. And they are side by side. Cope tries to come back on the outside. They are door to door out of turn 4, but the push now becomes a problem, primarily for a couple of cars up front, including Jeff Gordon, and his car is plowing coming out of turn 4.
Jeff Gordon and Darrell Waltrip and the others have fallen back from the top 2 as we continue to watch this very good race as Mark Martin moves to the inside of Rusty Wallace.
Tell you what, that was almost a crash as Rusty Wallace got down at turn 1, got the car loose, had to chase it up to the racetrack. But Mark Martin wisely backed off, let Rusty have the room. Now he's trying to make the pass.
And a whole bunch of cars are behind Hamilton, Martin, and Wallace, including John Andretti. Wow, what a shot. And now Jeff Gordon begins to make a move as he goes to the inside of Darrell Waltrip, and they battle for third position entering turn number 3. Gordon has it. Terry Labonte will come along on the inside and try also to take a position away from Darrell Waltrip. They run down the straightaway side by side. That's the 10 car of Ricky Rudd also there, along with Sterling Marlin in car number 4. Up front continues to be Earnhardt, but Labonte is not letting him get away by any means. Only separated by a couple of car lengths. There were those in the garage area today who said everybody is running for second place because Earnhardt has him covered. That is not what we have seen here in the first 24 laps of this event.
5-car, Terry Labonte. Kellogg's car was the winner at Richmond just a week ago. He's trying to get back by Ricky Rudd. Now he does that, and Sterling Marlin just dives to the inside and passes Rudd.
Marlin moves to 6th place, Rudd back to 7th.
There's Kenny Schrader in the red 25. Joe Nemechek on the inside, 87. Jimmy Hinder, the black car on the outside, 32.
Jeff Purvis is also there in the 44. Rick Mast in number 1.
And Jeff Burton in the 8 car. There's see Burt trying to get on the inside of Mast. Can't make it.
Couldn't make the pass.
Meanwhile, Purvis and Hensley are side by side. Purvis does take that spot away.
Hensley's caught on the outside and loses a couple of positions. And now Jeff Burton moves alongside. Michael Waltrip is coming along in the yellow car right behind him. There also is Ricky Craven in car number 41.
Now Mark Martin, who all the teams are saying has the fastest Ford here today, is trying to go by Darren Colby. He's taking over the 8th spot. Right now he would be the 2nd Ford behind Ricky Rudd.
And a whole pack of cars behind, including Rusty Wallace and John Andretti.
And John Andretti's in 37.
Brand new team in the Winston Cup Series this year, owned by Carl Haas and Michael Kranifus.
I had dinner with Michael Kranifus last Friday night in Richmond, and he is truly enjoying this experience, he said. This is unbelievable.
Well, he had a great job. He was a director of special vehicle operations for Ford Motor Company, but gave it up to become a car owner.
Become a car owner, said he's truly enjoying himself. No meetings, no paperwork.
We saw Morgan Shepherd go to the outside of Steve Grissom and pick up the position. There is John Andretti in the number 37 car. Dale Jarrett right on his heels.
And there's the distance to the leader of the race, Dale Earnhardt.
I'm impressed with Bobby Labonte. He has stayed within 2-3 car lengths. In fact, 0.2 of a second are separating first and second. There's 1.4 seconds between Earnhardt and Gordon, and about a 3.5 second interval back to 5th place Darrell Waltrip.
And we see in the graphic that Terry Labonte has been able to get by Darrell Waltrip.
Earnhardt has led all 29 laps of this event so far, but Bobby Labonte has kept up with him.
Here comes 28, Dale Jarrett, Texaco car, trying to get by Andretti. Andretti drives in the corner. See, Dale Jarrett does want to go in there and lose the back end and have to catch it, come up and tag the 37.
Coming off the corner, he pulls alongside of Andretti. In the middle of the backstretch, they are right dead even. Into the corner, however, Andretti is able to maintain.
We see what happened. And there we see a car on the inside. That's the crash car, the wrecked car of Randy LaJoy.
Earnhardt continues to lead over Bobby Labonte, and we will be back after this message and a word from our ABC stations.
I never park up front of the parking lot. That's how door dings happen. The towels bug my wife. She calls me a tightwad, but I'm not a tightwad. I just don't want to scratch the upholstery. No, if people took care of their cars, they wouldn't have to keep buying new ones.
Pure oil now.
I change my own oil and use Purolator filters.
Pure oil later.
Have to watch the dog up there. Town
legends live on Purolator.
Oh, look, a nickel.
You know, at AutoZone, we know our customers work just as hard as we do. So we're open when they need us, at night and on Sundays. And since 2 million folks each week count on AutoZone for what they need, when they need it, we're not about to let them down. That's why we carry so many parts and why we price them so low every day. You see, selling top quality parts at low prices every day is how we make a living. But helping customers, well, that's how we make friends.
Monday, it's a new coach. Hayden's daughter dates a man old enough to be her father.
I went out with men who were a lot older than me. Does that bother you?
No, because they're probably all dead by now.
Then Christine visits Brett on a whole new ballgame for a very special appearance.
You've never met a dope as big as me in your life, have you?
An all-new ballgame after Coach, Monday on ABC.
When I buy auto parts, I want to talk to people who really know what they're doing. The parts pros at Discount Auto Parts. I depend on these folks, like Rich here. I know him, he knows me. He gets me the right part at the right price every single time. Discount Auto Parts. Everything I need for my car and my truck. Everything. The parts pros save me time and money because they're smart. And they're right down the block. You work on your car, go with the pros you know.
Go with the pros you know at Discount Auto Parts.
You are going to have an incredible time. Really? It's going to be great. Come on, we can go in the pits. Wow, look at all these kids.
Don't I know you?
Back Tools Gator Nationals, March 16th through the 19th, Gainesville Raceway, Gainesville, Florida. Tickets at Ticketmaster.
So you've been to the races before?
Bob Kendrick tonight at 6 and 11 on 28 Tampa Bay News.
Jenkins, lately, we've been watching Jeff Gordon closing in.
He is a man on the move. He has closed up the interval between himself and second place Labonte and Earnhardt. Look how he has done it. Lap number 30, he was 1.4 seconds behind, and on the 33rd lap, he had closed that interval to 0.6 of a second. And there you can see that he is now only about 2 car lengths behind second place Bobby Labonte. So Jeff Gordon, at the moment, the man on the move.
And we can see that he consistently is running faster laps than Dale Earnhardt. And that's exactly what they're looking for right now, is consistency. Jerry Punch, what about Jeff Gordon?
Well, he doesn't have the problem that the 2 cars in front of him have, and that is both Earnhardt and Bobby Labonte have complained to their crew chiefs that their cars are loose getting into the corner. Gordon's car, in fact, is quite a bit tighter. He has a bit of a push coming up, so Gordon actually can run his car on into the corner, throw the car into the turn, and that's one of the reasons he has narrowed the gap. Also, that's the reason Bobby Labonte hasn't tried to dive beneath Earnhardt. His car is already very, very loose. Back upstairs.
And that's what they're trying to do. They're starting the race a little bit loose because they feel like as the day wears on, the cars will tighten up. And Mark Martin has passed Ricky Rudd. He now is the highest running Ford product. He's in 7th place. The first 6 cars are the new Chevrolet Monte Carlo.
A couple of Fords here with Mark Martin and Ricky Rudd running 7th and 8th.
As a matter of fact, let's see, the next 5 or 6 cars are Fords.
Yeah, exactly, Benny. Tracking that battle, we started with Fords. Chevys were 6 of the top 10, then 3 Fords and a Pontiac. Now better balanced with 6 Chevys and 4 Fords. John Kernan has a report. John?
Talking about the teams fighting a loose handling problem, we saw the 33 car of Robert Presley hit just a few laps ago. That was the reason. The car was so loose he couldn't hardly drive it. They brought it in, put on 4 new tires, and made a chassis adjustment to try and tighten it up. Michael Waltrip, though, has been running pretty well. He has also complained of a loose condition.
Presley is 3 laps down, running in 38th position, and doesn't appear to be handling much better than he was. There is Michael Waltrip, one of the drivers who had to take a provisional to get into the race. He started in 39th. He's currently running 23rd.
And Michael told me this morning that his car was not as bad as qualifying would indicate. He said his car was pretty good, but both qualifying laps, he simply got the car sideways and could not complete a good run.
Michael Waltrip is 8th in the point standings coming into this event. Derek Cope and Ken Schrader are doing battle out there for the 12th position. And Schrader has moved up nicely from his 29th starting position.
And there he comes on the inside of Schrader. Derek Cope, that's Schrader on the inside. The red 25 as Morgan Shepherd watches.
Jeff Gordon just passed Bobby Labonte and took over 2nd position, and now Gordon sets his sights on the leader, Dale Earnhardt.
Has that Gordon been phenomenal this year?
He sure has. He's won 2 pole positions already this year, and this is how he got 2nd from Labonte.
Down in turn 1, he simply gets a good run, drives down to the inside, and as Jerry Putt said, his car is tight enough that he's able to do that. Drive the car in a little farther than Labonte and take the spot away.
Now we'll see if he can close up on Dale Earnhardt. It looks like he is.
I would say so.
There in the 3rd turn, he closed in about 2 car lengths on Earnhardt.
Everyone said in about 40 laps they would really like to stop and change tires. They wouldn't be able to because the tires are not worn out. They're just starting to slip and slide.
Here's a field summary for you as you look for your favorite driver and where he is currently running in this race. Jeff Gordon had a good Daytona, a bad pit stop, won Rockingham, qualified for the pole at Richmond, and now is in 2nd position here at Atlanta. And here is Derek Cope and Morgan Shepherd still doing battle, and they're for 13th.
13th, and we see Steve Grissom, the Meineke car, pull up behind Morgan Shepherd, and there's Bobby Hamilton in Richard Petty's car. Here comes Grissom.
We look back on Steve Grissom, another one of those disappointing moments last week when Steve failed to qualify for an event, and because this is a brand new team, we're still working on 1994 points in terms of provisionals, and so could not get in. There is Mark Martin, who is now moving up to 6th position. He passed the 4 car of Sterling Marlin.
Darrell Waltrip is the next victim for Mark Martin. There he is.
And he's closing in rapidly, too. Cope and Shepherd continue to do battle.
Morgan drives in the corner, backs off the gas. Let's start drift up now. Back on the gas.
This is not a racetrack that you can go flat out.
No. Some of the guys almost did in qualifying. The Busch Grand National cars on Friday during qualifying on Thursday. Some of them did, in fact, run wide open. But
Mark Martin just passed Darrell Waltrip, taking over 5th position. So a Ford is on the move for Mark Martin.
But how far does he got to go to catch Dale Earnhardt? There he goes at the start-finish line, and there, where? Someplace.
There he is in the middle of the backstretch.
There he is. I knew he was out there someplace.
And Gordon has been able to come within about 6 car lengths or 5, but cannot move any closer. And so Dale Earnhardt continues to hang on to the lead as we have completed 49 out of 328 laps in the Purolator 500 from Atlanta. Back in a moment.
Car in the history of NASCAR's Championship Series is back. Introducing the race-modified Chevrolet Monte Carlo.
Pete
People ask me to endorse the strangest things. A green recliner? Not much of a sitter. I like going fast. 68 Shelby, and there's only about 300 and some odd made. This car rips. Pure oil now. Keeping them up's half the fun. They all get Purolator filters. Purolator. I snag them from the track.
Legends live. Purolator.
There's one thing that a racing engine and a street engine have in common. You want them both to last.
Haviland Formula 3 from Texaco.
To build a race engine that holds up, you have to use the best of everything, and Haviland does that job.
No other leading motor oil offers more complete protection to help your car run better, last longer. Good enough for Robert Yates. Haviland Formula 3. Why add just any motor oil? Add more life to your car.
In the middle of my workday, I don't do power lunches. I do power lifts. And when you work out this hard, better use a deodorant that works hard too and never quits. That's why I use Speed Stick. It gives me 110% protection that lasts all day. And fortunately, all night. Because while I may not have time for lunches, I always manage to find some time for dinner.
Speed Stick, like you, it never quits.
5 minutes.
Sunday, be prepared to lift off with an hour of completely outrageous videos from all over the country on America's funniest home videos Sunday here on ABC.
ABC Sports coverage of the Purolator 500. Brought to you by Chevrolet. One car company has won more races in the history of NASCAR. Genuine Chevrolet. Speed Stick 5 minutes. Like you, it never quits. Firestone, America's tire since 1900. And Coors Light, naturally brewed, the Silver Bullet has the pure taste of the Rockies.
54 laps into the record book now in the Purolator 500 at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Dale Earnhardt has led right from the first lap, but Jeff Gordon is beginning to run him down. Also on the move, Mark Martin and Kenny Schrader.
Mark Martin currently in 5th position, and Kenny Schrader is in 12th. Mark Martin leading the Ford charge at the moment.
And Bob, he just might be as fast as Dale Earnhardt now.
Jack Arute has more.
Well, Bob, this supposedly is going according to plan for the Mark Martin machine. They wanted to stay back until the first series of pit stops. I checked with Steve Neal. He said that his driver should come onto pit road in approximately 5 to 6 laps. No changes for Mark Martin. His only complaint on the radio is those darn Chevrolets. Meanwhile, Terry Labonte has a serious looseness. Look for them in their pit stop to add some wedge to the car.
And pit stop should be occurring before too very long. There is Ken Schrader in car number 25. The yellow flag comes out for the 3rd time this afternoon because of debris on the racetrack. And so we watch now the race to the caution flag. And here they come off the corner. Jeff Gordon will make no challenge. Earnhardt has the lead as we slow the pace down because of debris on the racetrack.
Boy, oh boy, was this a great caution flag or what?
Well timed.
Well timed for all these guys who really wanted to get in and get some new tires on. New tires just have a certain feel to them. They stick to the racetrack so much better than worn tires, hot tires. Now they're telling the crews, right now, all these drivers on the radio on their crews and saying, look, we need to do this, we need to do that, trying to get their car as perfect as they can.
Pit road should be open this coming lap because the pace car already has the field in tow in the backstretch. There is debris in turn number 3. That's the location of the debris that has caused this caution period. So we should be seeing the pit stops this time around.
Now then, can Mark Martin and his crew make up some time in the pits? This is a great race, one of the best races all day long. One I truly enjoy is between all the pit crews up and down pit road. 7 guys across the wall trying to do it just a little faster than the next guy.
They work so hard on their pit stops, just as the driver does during the week between races. Let's see how the crews perform as the field comes down. Only 3 or 4 cars stay out on the racetrack. Here's Jerry Punch.
Well, Dale Earnhardt will pit, as they all will on the lead lap, and they will make no changes on the Goodrich Chevrolet. We are told even though the car's been a little bit loose, this track gets tighter as the day goes on, so they're going to leave the car as is and just make a regular routine 4-tire change. Likewise, the same. No changes at all for Jeff Gordon in the car number 24. Back upstairs.
We can see the triple split. The 3-car on top, the 6-car on the bottom, and 24 in the middle.
Mark Martin's crew was finished on the right side first. Let's see if he can. Yeah,
he's moving. But Earnhardt is 7. Both those cars are down towards turn 1. And Mark will gain 1 spot. He got by the 5-car of Labonte as he left the pit. Picked up 1 spot.
Earnhardt with a 19.1, but his car was pitted way down toward turn number 1, the first pit stall, and an 18.7 for the other 2. Here's Jackaroo.
Well, Bob, if you don't think that these crews are competitive, when Mark Martin came in, they actually had a lookout checking down on the progress, first of Terry Labonte, and then further down towards turn number 1, the Martin crew was checking in the progress of Dale Earnhardt. As Martin pulled out, it looked as if he might be the first car out. They gave the high fives, and they were ready, but it all went for naught when they got to the end of pit road. What about down your end, John?
I'm all the way down on the end where Michael Waltrip is pitted in the first pit stall, number 42, as you come out of turn 4. He has picked up 17 positions out on the racetrack. They had a pretty good stop here. 4 tires. They also made a chassis adjustment. Michael had complained the car was a little bit loose, so they made a chassis adjustment to tighten the car up.
But a nice move to the 21st position from the 39th starting position for Michael Waltrip. We're under our 3rd caution of the day here at Atlanta for debris on the racetrack. ABC's live coverage continues in a moment.
When it comes to roping a steer, folks in Grand Junction, Colorado will tell you that Ron Markin can ride with the best of them. And when it comes to overhauling an engine or rebuilding a carburetor, well, he can do it all. You see, when Ron's not riding a horse for fun, he's turning a wrench for a living. So he buys a lot of parts, mostly from AutoZone. Sure, there are other parts stores in town, but Ron knows that when you want the right part for the right price, there's just no place better than AutoZone.
Brewing beer has been a topic of conversation around my family's house since I can remember. So believe me, I know you might think about drinking before you're 21. But do us and yourself a favor. Please don't. We'll wait for your business.
They were the tires that created giants.
Been developed just for the 500.
That turned a cornfield into the greatest spectacle in racing. The tires that took home 48 checkered flags from the Indy 500. On May 28, 1995, Firestone will return to Indy to prove that yesterday isn't all we have to be proud of.
To perfect the all-new 1995 Monte Carlo, we spent countless hours adjusting the audio controls. You see, Monte Carlo was designed from the inside out to be your own personal space, so every interior detail had to be in harmony. Paying attention to something as small as the texture of a control is what makes Monte Carlo seem more like, say, a $40,000 car than one that costs half that much. Which also makes the new Monte Carlo a genuine Chevrolet.
Still under caution in Atlanta. Coming up next here on ABC Sports, the auto racing action continues. 12 of the best racing stars, including, of course, Rusty Wallace, give a whole new meaning to the term Sunday driver. The legendary Daytona International Speedway is the site for round number 1 of the International Race of Champions, and let me tell you, it's a terrific race. That's next here on ABC Sports. Let's go pit side again. Here's Jerry Punch.
Paul, let me show you a problem that may be potentially brewing here with some of the teams. This is the right front tire off Ricky Rudd's Ford. And take a look. The inside shoulder beginning to separate here. The tire beginning to blister. Some of the cord already showing. Now, 2 things can cause this. Number 1, if the air pressure is a little low and the tire actually is rolling on the shoulder, it'll begin to separate. That was the case here. But also, the car was just so tight, he was having to turn the tire in the corner, and it was ripping the tread away. Some of the other cars are also complaining a little bit tight this early on. So a lot of concern here in the Rudd pit. They loosened the car up. That was the right front tire. Maybe 4 or 5 more laps, and Ricky would have bought some concrete.
Thank you, Jerry. The green flag comes out.
And it's still Dale Earnhardt up front, closely pursued by Jeff Gordon. Now, Mark Martin is 4th in line. Bobby Labonte ahead of him. Let's see if Mark Martin can gain another spot, as a lot of positions are being traded behind the leaders. There's Jeff Bodine to the inside of Ricky Rudd, and Brett Bodine also there with Rusty Wallace.
For a second, we had 3 Bodine brothers nose to tail. 75, 7, and 11. Now, look, Gordon trying to look on the inside of Earnhardt coming off turn 4.
Yeah, at the start-finish line, he had his nose to the inside of Earnhardt, wanting the line, and now let's see if he has enough momentum build up in turn number 2 to make the pass down the backstretch. Gordon works to the inside of Earnhardt, and he passes him and takes the lead. Jeff Gordon becomes our second leader, but look at Earnhardt come back.
You knew he was going up the hill, and you knew Earnhardt was coming back on the inside. Who will lead this lap? Jeff Gordon.
By inches.
Now then, Jeff let Earnhardt go up the hill, and you get under him. Oh, no, don't do this, guys. As Labonte goes by, as these fellas gets picked up, he takes the lead.
Jeff Gordon and Dale Earnhardt touched in turn number 1 just enough to let Bobby Labonte, who was running third, dive below both of them and pick up the lead. And let's see if Labonte will have it at the line where the 5 Winston Cup points are awarded. Indeed, he will.
As Mark Martin, his in-car camera, there he is, the 6th car, the Valvoline Ford, followed closely by Terry Labonte. Now watch this. Coming down the front straightaway, they will go in turn 1 side by side. And watch as Earnhardt gets the car a little bit out of shape in 1 and got to go up the hill. Gordon gives him room.
But they touch. And Bobby, you could just see Bobby Labonte sitting back there saying, these guys are going to do something that's going to allow me to take the lead, and indeed, that happened. The question now is, might there be slight damage to the 24 or the 3 car that might come up later?
I don't think the touch was that hard. I really don't. And we see Mark Martin has fallen back.
Yes, indeed. Sterling Marlin has gone to 5th, and Mark Martin back to 6th.
Terry Labonte also was able to get by. So Mark's car is not handling as well as it was before the tire change. Looks like Rusty Wallace might be improving on his chassis during that last pit stop, as he looks like he's going to the front.
He's back in 8th position. Now going to the inside of Rudd and picking up another spot, moving him to 7th. There is Morgan Shepherd.
That's the camera on top of Morgan Shepherd's car as he exits turn 4.
Jerry Punch, what is the problem with Mark Martin? I'm sorry, Jack Arosi's fallen back a couple of positions.
Actually, Bob, there is no problem. One of the situations that's developed with Mark Martin's car is it is not as quick on new tires as it is on old tires. Remember before the last pit stop how quick he came up in the last 15 or 20 laps in the pit window? Well, that's the case again. According to Steve Neal, he says, we've got to wait for the other cars to begin to push, then we can go back towards the front. Right now, we're just coasting.
He is moving up, going to the inside now of Sterling Marlin and passing him, picking up one of the positions he lost. But that appears indeed to be the situation, Jack. Those tires just work better when they come in a little bit.
And we saw the 10 car of Ricky Rudd a moment ago being passed by Rusty Wallace there. That was just simply Ricky Rudd. Billy Engle told him about the right front tire. Right now, once again, he's trying to be as easy on those tires as he possibly can.
There's Steve Neal looking on at his driver, Mark Martin. Jack Roush with the hat on, the owner of the team, looking on also. And while they look onto the race, we will tell you that Jimmy Spencer is back in competition, but the 33 car of Robert Presley is behind the wall.
There's the inside the 6 car looking back, and you see that cable hanging down in the rear window? That's for the rear roof flaps. When they deploy, when they come up, that cable makes sure that they don't flip over.
Just keep going, yeah. Mark Martin has won twice at this racetrack, but never this race. Now Jeff Gordon goes to the inside of Bobby Labonte like he was standing still. Wow. And Gordon comes back into the lead. Now let's see if Earnhardt can pick up second spot.
Has Jeff led the race? I don't know that he has. He has now, that's for sure.
Well, I think he led that one lap where he got it by just inches a few laps ago. There are your top four. Gordon, Labonte, Earnhardt, and Labonte. Bobby, second. Terry, fourth. Jerry Punch can update us from the pits.
Well, we told you earlier Dale Earnhardt's car was a little bit loose. You saw it firsthand a moment ago when he tried to go beneath Jeff Gordon. You wonder why wouldn't they tighten up Earnhardt's car? Well, the reason they won't is because of what I showed you a moment ago in Ricky Rudd's pit. If they tighten the car up in the rear, it puts more pressure on the right front tire, and that's what they're concerned about. Chilver said, if we get any more buildup in our right front tire, we're going to rip the tread right off of us. So Dale was going to have to drive a loose race car. Meanwhile, both crew chiefs in the 24 and 3 pits report that there was no damage, just their drivers had to take a moment, too, to catch their breaths. Back upstairs.
I bet that's for sure.
There's the first 4 cars. Jeff Gordon pulled away by 3 or 4 car lengths. Now, Sterling Marlin has been able to get back by Mark Martin. And Rusty Wallace has closed up. I talked to Rusty this morning, talking about loose and tight. He changed 3 springs this morning trying to loosen his car up because he is very concerned that his car will start pushing. 3 of the 4 springs he changed this morning.
Had a good race at Richmond last weekend, but the handling went away in the closing laps. He finished 3rd, and right now, Rusty Wallace is running in 7th position. 73 out of 328 laps are completed here at Atlanta, and we'll be back after this message and a word from our ABC station.
Your right brain craves excitement, but your left brain nags to be practical. So get this hand on a Yamaha and get this one on 8.9% APR and 0 down, right side. Left side, great financing, plus $200 worth of free accessories. But since this one appeals more to your emotional side, here's a reminder for your rational side. Everybody's happy.
I love my new hot rod. Those flames scare the other guys. 5,000 horsepower helps too. And a fat bankroll. You know, we've been running Autolite spark plugs forever, but I can wring more money out of someone else. Money's good. My crew burns it. So I tell the guys we're going to run a different plug. They say no. I say I'm the boss. They say Autolite keeps this monster lit. So I tell them I was just kidding.
Sunday on ABC, he fought against all odds to claim his destiny. Tom Cruise, Nicole Kidman, a network premiere far and away Sunday.
Tuesday, Tim accidentally loses Jill's wedding ring.
Take a tennis ball and drop it down to me, see if we can dislodge that thing.
And it's really hard to find on a new home improvement. Ow! Then will Grace's night at the opera turn into a foreign affair?
If you like, I can translate for you.
Oh, I like Louie Louie, and I don't understand it.
It's an all-new Grace after a new home improvement, Tuesday.
At Copers, I always save money. I just pull it myself. Or I'll dig it up for you. Here you go, ma'am.
Thanks. I don't always have time to drop in a starter myself from Cofer You Pull It, so I stop here at Cofer Brothers. And they not only save me a bundle, they'll even put it in for me.
Whether you pull it yourself at Cofer You Pull It,
Or get the full service convenience of Cofer Brothers. You can always count on Cofer to save you money.
I believe we're entering an era where there is honor in ham. I discovered this at Boston Chicken. There is something real, honest, comfortable about Boston Chicken's new double-glazed ham. Honey glaze baked on, maple pecan sauce on top, and as fast as I could say to go, I was gone. I felt like I was back on the farm, except I grew up in the city. This is one honorable ham. No, this is not the feeling you get from snarfing a burrito.
New double-glazed ham from Boston Chicken.
This is different. This is progress.
Kyle Kraska, tonight at 6 and 11 on 28 Tampa Bay News.
Back at Atlanta Motor Speedway in the Purolator 500 NASCAR Winston Cup race, which currently is being led by Jeff Gordon, and he has stretched out the advantage a little bit on 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. Bobby Labonte, Dale Earnhardt, and Terry Labonte.
And Mark Martin has repassed Sterling Marlin.
They have been going at it for the last 15 or so laps.
Seems like every time I open my mouth, I talk about one of these fellows passing the other, but now it's Martin, and he's stretching, pulling away from Sterling Marlin. As Steve Neal, one of the guys in the pits reported, Steve Neal said after 15 laps or so, their car starts running as fast as the leaders, but it's just not as fast those first 15 laps.
There's Michael Waltrip, who now finds himself in 17th position after the 39th place start. And right behind him is the 12th car of Derek Cope.
Actually just passed Cope for the 16th spot, I believe.
Rick Mast is the number 1 car that Michael's about to pass. Here's the leader, Jeff Gordon, and he is the only other driver besides Dale Earnhardt to lead every race so far in 1995.
And there you can tell just how much 1.3 seconds is.
Jeff Gordon finished 4th in this race in 1993 and finished 8th last year. Now Earnhardt looks to the inside of Bobby Labonte in a bid for second spot. Nope, can't get the job done.
As a matter of fact, this is the racetrack that Jeff Gordon made his Winston Cup debut. And he brought the team down. He practiced and ran a speed that was fast enough to sit on the pole. And as a matter of fact, he was expecting to sit on the pole his first time here. In the qualifying, about 20th or something. He just, but has always run this racetrack very, very well.
There are other drivers who made their first Winston Cup start here also, including Steve Brisson, Rand LaJoy, and Rusty Wallace, who back in 1980 finished second in a car owned by Roger Penske. John Kernan has an update on Robert Presley, who went behind the wall a few laps ago.
Bob, it's not what we usually see when a car goes behind the wall. Normally we see an engine problem where they've been involved in a crash. Robert Presley has brought his Chevrolet into the garage area simply because he couldn't drive it out on the racetrack. The car was so loose, the rear end wanted to come around on him every time he went into the turns. I talked to his crew chief, Charlie Presley. He says, John, we just missed the setup today. So they changed 4 springs, making other adjustments to the car. In fact, Charlie told me he should have called his sister this morning because she could have set the car up better than they did.
Well, we didn't need to call anybody to help set this car up because Ray Evernham and Jeff Gordon is doing very well setting up this 24 car, the DuPont car. And look,
remember a few laps ago we showed how he closed the interval? Well, now we show him widening the interval between himself and second place. On lap 80 to lap 83, he lengthened out the interval between himself and second place Bobby Labonte.
There we see Greg Sachs in the 40 car and Dale Jarrett. Jarrett trying to take that spot away. Sachs was in front just a moment ago.
Greg Sachs has had a good run today.
Right now, that's for 12th and 13th. Sachs started 24th, I believe.
Yep. Had his problems in the first 3 races of this year, but looking good here today. They're trying to run down Morgan Shepherd.
Not making much headway at it, are they?
No. Jarrett again moves to the inside of Sachs. And I believe Jarrett is going to pick up the position. Yep.
And looks like he's closing in just a little bit on Morgan Shepherd. That's the 28 car, Dale Jarrett, and that's Greg Sachs. Now then, back to the front of the pack, that's Earnhardt. He's currently running 3rd. Labonte is 4th. That's Terry Labonte in the 5 and Bobby Labonte in the 18. Man, this will get confusing.
And we also might salute the Rick Hendrick team because his cars have won the last 2 Winston Cup races. His 3 cars, Gordon, Labonte, and Schrader, are in the top 10 at the moment.
And there we see Terry Labonte trying to take Earnhardt, but he couldn't make the pass so wisely. He backed off. Now we see Dale Jarrett has caught the 21 car. He's passing him as Labonte and Earnhardt are side by side down in 20 turn 3.
Earnhardt continues to hold on to that 3rd place, but Labonte now has a good run on the bottom of the racetrack, and he takes 3rd.
Now Greg Sachs was able to get by Morgan Shepherd as well.
Yep. A few laps ago, we were watching from the rear of Shepherd's car, both Sachs and now both of them are visible out the front of Morgan Shepherd's car.
That's not the picture you want to see. You want to see him out the back, not the front.
Jeremy Mayfield, he's running 27th. By the way, there are 30 cars on the lead lap. Make that 26th. Mayfield has just picked up a position and is running at 26.5.
Jeff Burton, the Rebecca's car, directly in front of Jeremy Dale Yarborough's car. I saw Ken this morning. He looks as fit as ever. And there's Bill Elliott behind Jeremy. He has struggled all weekend.
And with more on Cale Yarborough, the winningest driver here at this racetrack is Jack Arute.
You remember that there were problems with mixed emotions when Cale Yarborough hung up his helmet. Well, as you watch him run his team here, high atop their pit car, he's brought his little boat chair with him, guys. And it looks as if I was kidding him about it and saying, it looks as if you're spending a Sunday down at the beach. He said, when you've been a racer all your life, coming to a racetrack is a Sunday at the beach.
7 times Cale Yarborough took the checkered flag here at Atlanta. That car down there on the inside of the racetrack, that's Robert Presley that we got a report on a few minutes ago. And here's another car moving into the inside of the racetrack, and that's Jimmy Hensley.
Yes, down the front straightaway, as he went under our broadcast position, I heard the car blow, and we could see the steam and water coming out of the exhaust, the rear of the car, as he went down in turn 1.
Here is the leader, Jeff Gordon, continuing to set the pace. Look at the interval now between himself and second place Bobby Labonte, and he is indeed stretching it out. In third place now is Terry Labonte, and fourth is Dale Earnhardt. Mark Martin runs fifth in the Purolator 500.
Have you had your break today? We all need to get away. There's one place that's on your way. McDonald's is your break today. Have you had your break today? Oh, take time out McDonald's way. Save a little money, put a smile in your tummy. Have you had your break today? Feed me, please me, tempt me, tease me. Rush me down to Mickey D's. Have you had your break today? Easy does it McDonald's way. Taste the break, the smiling face. Have you had your break today? Have you had your break today?
You know, a lot of people who work on their cars will only shop at AutoZone. They depend on us for the best quality parts and low prices every day. They come in, get what they need, and then get back to work. Because you see, they believe if you want the job done right, you do it yourself. Well, at AutoZone, we couldn't agree more. Because when you take the time and the effort to work on your car yourself, you ought to be choosy about where you shop. We just thank you for choosing AutoZone.
Sunday after Sunday, we believe in putting on our best. Maybe that's why no car company has won more races in the history of NASCAR than Chevrolet.
Back at the Purolator 500 NASCAR Winston Cup race at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Well, tonight on ABC starts with an hour of America's funniest home videos, followed by an all-new Lois and Clark. Then a network premiere on the Sunday night movie. Tom Cruise and Nicole Kidman star in Far and Away, all tonight on ABC. While we were in break, we had a couple of positions change. Now, Jeff Gordon continues to be the leader of this race, but Mark Martin picked up a spot.
Well, let's see. Past Dale Earnhardt going down in the first corner, and that is for the 4th spot. And you see he makes the pass, and away he goes.
And about the same time, at another portion of the racetrack, we had a change of position for second as Terry came up on his brother Bobby.
Came off the corner, got a great run off the corner alongside Bobby, and takes a spot away. Uncontested.
So Jeff Gordon now has the lead, but Terry Labonte is currently in second position.
Never see him going by Jeff Burton. That's the leader. Jeff Gordon passing Jeff Burton.
And Burton is running 26, so there are now 25 cars on the lead lap at the 101 lap mark. And there is Gordon's teammate, Terry Labonte. Henry Cars running first, second, and ninth. And Schrader is ninth.
The third place car, Bobby Labonte. Now, the next car is a Ford.
What about those Fords, huh?
Martin.
Mark Martin is the highest running Ford. He is fourth. In the top 10, there are currently 7 Chevys and 3 Fords, and Mark is the best among them.
And Mark is gaining on the 18 car of Bobby Labonte. Now we see how far he's driven away from Dale Earnhardt. So Earnhardt's Goodrich Chevrolet struggling right now.
Sure is.
Trying to find that right handle as Dave Marcus takes his rumple car.
He was involved in that multi-car crash out in the second turn early in the race. And so was Billy Standridge there in 47 that Marcus was running along with.
There's Joe Nemechek in 87 that Jeff Gordon just put a lap on.
And that means that there are 23 cars now on the lead lap as Nemechek is in 24th. Let's see how much of an interval there is between the leader and Dale Earnhardt, the pole sitter. There he is.
Right to the entire back straightaway.
$15,200 bonus to Dale Earnhardt if he can win this race after having started from the pole. Now we're going to find out where Sterling Marlin is. There he is, the winner of the Daytona 500. And now 7th place, Ricky Rudd in car number 10. We'll see how far he is behind Sterling Marlin.
There he is. Now the next car is the third Hendrick car, Ken Schrader. You can see the distance between he and Ricky Rudd.
Again, Schrader started 25th and is currently 8th. There he is.
I read the newspaper that day that Schrader thought he would win this race today.
Well, it's not out of the realm of possibility. There is his serial. On the 53rd lap, he was in 11th, held there for a few, then moved up to 10th, held there for a few laps, and then picked up 2 to run now in 8th position.
I tell you one thing, he better get his owner, Rick Hendrick, to talk to the 24 car and tell Jeff to slow down a little bit if he's going to win this race.
Gordon setting a rather furious pace here.
And there's Kyle Petty.
He has now put a lap on Kyle. Kyle was in 22nd position. 21 cars on the lead lap, and the next to go a lap down would be Steve Grissom.
And there's Grissom right in front of Jeff Gordon. The black and yellow car is Grissom.
And just ahead of Grissom is Blake Speed in the number 9 machine. Here's Jerry Punch with a report on Jeff Gordon.
Guys, the news just couldn't be any better out of the Jeff Gordon pits. Now, they ran 58 laps on their first pit stop. All 4 tires came off, and there was essentially no wear at all on those tires. The air pressure buildup was minimal. The tire temperature was absolutely perfect, and to make matters worse for the competition, they're getting outstanding fuel mileage. In fact, they will run 67 laps on this fuel stop, according to Ray Evernham, and they will probably not come in until lap 125. That spells a lot of problems, possibly, for the competition. Bob?
Awesome performance so far by Jeff Gordon.
I sure hope some of those teams down there with their radios aren't monitoring ABC today, because they will be dejected if they were. If they are.
He has led the most laps now total in 1995, Jeff Gordon has. Here we go with Darrell Waltrip, John Andretti, and Dale Jarrett. That's 10th, 11th, and 12th. Jarrett moving to the high side of Andretti as Andretti comes up and looks to the inside of Darrell Waltrip.
Darrell Waltrip has a broken exhaust on his car. I saw it backfire up turn 3 just a moment ago. I hope that some of that gas doesn't get in there and affect Darrell. Rusty Wallace right in front of these guys. This is all a race for position.
Yep, Rusty running 9th.
As we watch this, I'll tell you, Steve Grissom has made a pit stop, changed tires.
He got a lap down, and not too long after that, came in for a pit stop. Waltrip closing in on Rusty Wallace.
Looks like Rusty is losing the handle just a little bit right now.
Waltrip goes up on the bank about every time down there in 1 and 2.
Darrell lost control there for a second. He went a little bit higher. Watch again, he'll go high up here.
Yep. But neither Andretti nor Jarrett can take advantage of his sliding up the racetrack. Now, Jarrett is going to try to go to the inside of Andretti.
As we watch this, Jeff Gordon still our leader. Rig Mast goes by Morgan Shepherd, takes a spot away.
That's the race for 15th position. Morgan Shepherd back to 16th. What do you think, Benny? Pit stops before too much longer?
Be too long. Here we go. Andretti on the inside of Darrell Waltrip, the 17th car. Can he make the move? Now, he's a newcomer. He'll drive her down in there, but Darrell's going to give you some room. And Andretti takes that spot away. Here comes the 20, and Greg Sachs has joined in this race.
Yeah, this is a good 5-car battle here. And not too far behind all of this is Michael Waltrip. Jarrett moves to the inside now of Darrell Waltrip. And he, too, is trying to pass Darrell and does. So now 113 laps out of 328 have been completed here at Atlanta, with Gordon leading Labonte and Martin.
With all the motor oils on the shelf, how do you know which one to choose? Some people even think they're all the same. Then why do you suppose one brand of motor oil is the #1 choice of America's top mechanics for use in their own cars and trucks? Which brand? Valvoline. People who know use Valvoline. And for extra engine protection, try Valvoline DuraBlend Synthetic Blend Motor Oil.
I keep having this dream. I can feel every turn, every move, every spin. It's wild. Then I wake up. Sea-Doo. Hold on to your dreams and hold on tight.
Everybody's doing it. Sea-Doo. Sea-Doo.
In this dirty old part of the city where the sun refused to shine, people tell me there ain't no use in trying.
Cold-filtered Miller Genuine Draft. The cold one.
We gotta get out of this place.
You know the beer, you know the taste. With Miller Genuine Draft, the world's a very cool place.
For me and you.
She made Olympic history in 1976 and changed the sport of gymnastics forever. More than a decade later, she made a dramatic escape from communist Romania. Now, this sporting legend makes an emotional trip back to her homeland for a reunion with her family and to perform for her countrymen for the first time in 10 years. ABC's Wide World of Sports presents Nadja Comanic, Return to Romania, after the Bud Light Championship Saturday on ABC Sports.
Pit stops are beginning to happen here at Atlanta. You can see Dale Jarrett has already completed his pit stop and rolls back out on the racetrack as Dale Earnhardt comes to a stop. Mark Martin may be out of gas as he drops down off the banking in turn number 3 and hits for the pits.
He was slow down the back straightaway. And look at the chassis adjustment on that 3 car, Jerry Budge.
Indeed, Earnhardt has had a problem with the loose race car. They raised it, they bumped the spoiler up and made a significant chassis adjustment in the right rear. They were very concerned about the car being so loose. Let's check in with Jack Arute, who's waiting on Mark Martin. Jack?
Well, Mark Martin brings his car into pit road in what they call dead stick condition. The engine has run out of fuel. Now, a crew member reaches over the wall and begins to put in the ether. They try to refire the car. Thus far, they have not refired it. They're going to continue to change tires. They're anticipating making no major changes in terms of chassis adjustment. But you can see that now they're going to have to push the car off because he cannot fire. It tries to fire. It's 2 pit stalls down, 3 pit stalls down. They're beginning to lose. And Jerry, let's go down to you and Jeff Gordon's pit.
You think there isn't teamwork at auto racing? Well, the Hendrick Motorsports teams are working together. They brought Gordon in and told Terry Labonte, stay out because we want you to lead a lap. Here's the DuPont Chevrolet. Jeff Gordon in. It should be a routine pit stop. They plan no chassis adjustment, no air pressure change. They will clean the windshield, change all 4 tires, fill it up with fuel, and he will be down and away. Meanwhile, his teammate, Terry Labonte, gets to lead a lap and pick up 5 bonus points. Teamwork does exist here in NASCAR.
Bobby Labonte is in the pit, so is Rusty Wallace. Let's go to Jack Arute in the 5 pit.
Well, Jerry, those 5 points are very important, and now Team Hendrick goes to work on Terry Labonte's car. Checking with crew chief Gary Diard, they anticipate again making no major changes in terms of chassis. Checking the tires as they come off, they seem to be perfectly okay. The same could not be said for Dale Jarrett's car, number 28. When he came in, just as we saw on some of the other front runners in the first series of pit stops, he too had a blistered right front. 21.1 seconds for Team Hendrick, and Bill Elliott is coming onto pit road. Here's John Kernan.
Elliott apparently out of gas. They have completed the work now. The crewmen are trying to push the car to get it to refire. They were making some major chassis adjustments. Also, they bumped the spoiler down as the car had been very, very tight. Bill Elliott at his hometown track, not having a very good day as they finally get the engine fired. Elliott continues on his way.
There have been good days for Bill Elliott, but not today. Jack?
Pit road has seen Granifus and the Haas organization go to work on John Andretti's car, led by Tim Brewer, veteran crew chief with so many victories with Junior Johnson. They have stalled the engine on this car, number 37, having a little bit of a problem with the jack on the left side as well. Now they've taken on the fuel, and they're beginning to refire the car. He is off and away in 21.8. Here's Jerry Punch.
And as you see John Andretti exiting the pit, Darrell Waltrip, after a great qualifying effort, brings the Western Auto Chevrolet down. And Pete Peterson and company will go to work on that car. DW looking to make possibly just a 4-tire change. As yet, there has been no adjustment on the spoiler and no chassis difference whatsoever on his Chevrolet Monte Carlo. DW, 3-time winner, has won twice here in the spring event, and now they will make a chassis adjustment in the right rear. Apparently the car just a little bit too loose as DW gets left side tires. Lengthy stop now, the lug nuts are on, he is down and away.
22.1 second pit stop for Darrell Waltrip. The leader of the race is Kyle Petty, who stopped a little bit earlier. There he is.
I wonder why all the guys were going by Kyle so fast. I understand that because he has worn tires in these other cars with the new tires.
Here comes Jeff Gordon, though, coming up on Lake Speed and Kyle Petty. Talk about effort on pit road, Benny. You'll see nothing more outstanding than this. They're trying to get Mark Martin's car started, and the whole team gets behind the car and pushes, and look what happens when they finally get it to fire.
It's crazy. They stumble over each other. There, all of them go off pit road. Steve Neal loved to tumble down pit road.
He fell from 3rd to 14th, though, in the serial scoring. There goes John Andretti, who has the new tires, along with Derry Cope. Kyle should be coming in for a pit stop before too much longer.
Here he comes. He must have heard you, Bob.
John Kernan will be there to call this pit stop by Kyle Petty.
Kyle Petty pulls in as Barry Dodson, his crew chief, looks on as his Pontiac crew goes to work. It'll be a 4-tire change. Kyle fairly satisfied with the way the car has been handling, but they will make a minor chassis adjustment on the left rear. They'll put a little wedge into the car to try and tighten it up, and he's gotten just a tad bit loose. Now the left side tire is going on So far, a fairly smooth pit stop. Jack is down 19, a little over 19 seconds for Kyle Petty.
Very good pit stop by that team, and with all of the pit stops having been made, it is Jeff Gordon now resuming the lead of this event with Terry Labonte second, Bobby Labonte third, fourth is Dale Earnhardt, and fifth is Ricky Rudd.
And we see Jeff Gordon going by Michael Waltrip, putting him a lap down. Michael is in 13th position, now only 12 cars on the lead lap.
And Jack Arute has information on how Mark Martin managed to run out of fuel.
Well, Benny Parsons, I have a question for you. Have you ever been so focused in a race car that you don't hear what your crew chief is telling you on the radio? That's what happened to Mark Martin. For 3 consecutive laps, Steve Neal radioed in, it's time to pit, it's time to pit. The car was running so good, Martin's focus was so intent on trying to go to the front, and he didn't hear it.
He probably heard him. He just didn't understand that it was fuel that was the problem and not the fact that other cars were pitting.
In any case, it has cost Mark Martin dearly. He's now back in 12th position, and he is the last car on the lead lap with 129 laps completed. Jeff Gordon continues to lead here on a beautiful day at Atlanta Motor Speedway. ABC's coverage continues in a moment.
At AutoZone, most of our customers are folks who like to work on their cars themselves. But the ones who come in most often are those who work on cars for a living. Guys like Ed Graven. Now, Ed's garage is in Ogden, Utah, where most of the time you'll find him pulling an engine or sliding under a car. And just about every day, he drives past a half dozen other parts stores on his way to AutoZone. Because Ed knows that when it comes to getting the right part for the right price, there's just no place better than AutoZone.
To perfect the all-new 1995 Monte Carlo, we spent countless hours adjusting the audio controls. You see, Monte Carlo was designed from the inside out to be your own personal space, so every interior detail had to be in harmony. Paying attention to something as small as the texture of a control is what makes Monte Carlo seem more like, say, a $40,000 car than one that costs half that much. Which also makes the new Monte Carlo a genuine Chevrolet.
Sunday.
I'll pick you up at 8.
It's the date you've been waiting 2 years for.
You look fantastic.
Will Lois and Clark become more than friends?
Oh, my God.
A very special Lois and Clark, Sunday on ABC.
I need a moment to recover.
Tuesday.
Pour me some coffee.
It's a bumpy road.
How you doing, Tiger?
I'm doing great. This is to tell my grandpa it is not safe to drink and drive.
On an all-new Thunder Alley, right after Full House, Tuesday here on ABC.
Excuse me? That's better. Excuse me? That's better. Excuse me? Excuse me. There's nothing better than a steak from Winn-Dixie.
On the rim and out the door. Just one price and a penny more.
At Allied, you get a single no-hassle price with the security of 24-hour roadside assistance. Get a flat and get it changed by calling our 800 number anytime, anywhere in the U.S. and Canada. 24-hour roadside assistance only from Allied.
On the rim and out the door. Allied is your tire store.
Allied Tires and Service.
NASCAR Winston Cup race from Atlanta Motor Speedway. Well, it's this time of year every year we become insanely jealous of Paul Page, who will be on a plane in a few hours headed for Australia. And our coverage of the Australian IndyCar Grand Prix next Sunday at 4 o'clock. Page, you don't have to leave a week early to go cover this IndyCar race.
Bob, it's a 19-hour trip. You got to get over there. You got to relax.
But you gain a day when you go over there.
Bob, don't remind me.
Surfer's paradise, huh? What a place.
I don't surf, I wave.
We look forward to the coverage next Sunday here on ABC. Here's a field summary for you as you check out your favorite driver and where he is running in this 500-mile NASCAR race. Jeff Gordon has things all to himself. We have had 6 leaders and 7 lead changes so far in this race. 3 caution periods for a total of 15 laps. And the average speed of the race is 142.4 miles an hour. And Jeff Gordon, the leader of the race, is setting a pace of about 171 at the moment.
We can see what Jeff Gordon is doing to the competition. Bodine brothers, Jeff and Brett, 3. And Mark Martin is going a lap down.
And boy, did he get cost him dearly when he ran out of fuel and the crew had trouble getting their car restarted, and now Mark Martin goes a lap down. He was the head of the Ford Brigade for a while.
This is a race for 10th place. Rusty Wallace has it. Greg Sachs wants it. And Sachs just might win.
Boy, a good race for Greg Sachs.
But they better hustle because Jeff Gordon is not too far behind them as Mark Martin is coming back in the pits.
Yep, he got a lap down and immediately came in. Jackarooni's coming towards you.
Well, it's fairly obvious he has a right front, it looks like, that has gone down on the car, so they're going to have to make the change under green. That's precisely the case. They're going to take on fuel as well. This will take him out of sequence during green flag stops. In 9.2 seconds, he's away.
Very quickly, Mark Martin down pit road, although keeping it under the speed limit. Gaining speed now as he enters the apron of the track, and Jeff Bodine gets service completed on his car.
And Jeff Bodine is having a terrible day. Right now, he's 6 laps down.
Being shown in 33rd position.
He's had a couple of unscheduled pit stops to change some tires. And Mark Martin, in an unscheduled stop of his, did in fact lose another lap to the leader, Jeff Gordon. There we see Rusty Wallace, and right behind Rusty is Jeff Gordon.
So Rusty and Greg Sachs both stand to go a lap down.
You know, everyone back in the winter was talking about how hard that Ray Evernham and the entire DuPont crew was working. You know, back around Christmas, they were talking about them working 7 days a week, 12 hours a day, and it was said, why are they working so hard? Now we know why they're working so hard.
And their hard work has paid off. He has his 7.5-second lead on second place Terry Labonte, and almost a little over 20-second lead on the 5th place car. So Jeff Gordon is indeed making a shambles of this race. But there are battles out there on the racetrack, and here's one of them. Ken Schrader and Dale Jarrett.
This is a race for 7th place. And the 21 car also in the mix, Morgan Shepherd. That's 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th. The 40 car is 10th. And all they got to do is look in the rearview mirror, and they will see
something that they don't want to see.
Exactly. The leader of the race.
Robert Yates' team, with Ernie Irvin behind the wheel, won this race last year. Now Dale Jarrett is in command of that car while Ernie Irvin continues to recuperate from the injury suffered at Michigan last year. Jeff Bodine, meanwhile, comes back in. John?
He was in the first time because he felt the vibration, and they found out the right front tire was a little bit low. They put 4 new tires on and went back out, and the vibration continued. So Bodine decided to pull it into the pits. As you look out on the racetrack, Jeff Gordon trying to put a lap on Rusty Wallace. Paul Andrews and the crew looking over Jeff Bodine's car. Remember last fall, Jeff Bodine ran really well here. They had a similar problem to this, feeling the vibration. They finally found the problem in the front suspension. Right now, Paul Andrews, Danny Glad, and the rest of the crew are checking under the car to see exactly what the problem might be, but they still haven't found it.
And with Jeff Gordon putting a lap on Rusty Wallace, we now have 9 cars on the lead lap. And Benny, I think if you were to take a poll in the garage area before this race started, most people would have said, yep, it's going to be a runaway in this event today, but they would have said that Earnhardt was going to run away with it and not Jeff Gordon.
Well, I think that's true, although most of it did say that the 24 car was running awfully well. Understatement.
Yes, he is. Earnhardt, meanwhile, continues to run in 4th position behind the 2 Labontes, Terry and Bobby. Meanwhile, Dale Earnhardt is trying to hold on to 4th position, but Sterling Marlin is right behind. of the top positions here are held by Chevrolets, and they have 7 of the top 10 positions at this point in the event. Only 3 Fords in the top 10.
And if you folks have heard the 4-car go by on some of our audio, you'll notice that it doesn't have that strange sound he had in Daytona. They brought a conventional exhaust system this week on the 4-car.
It had almost an IndyCar sound at Daytona, but now it sounds more like a conventional stock car.
There you heard him go by, and just like everyone else.
He had the headers, about 140 degrees on that 4-car?
Whatever that means.
Yeah, it made it sound different. That's all I know. Marlin can close in on Earnhardt in the corners, but Dale seems to be able to hold his own on the straightaways.
Oh, and a crash off the second corner. Heavy crash. Jeremy Mayfield has made some heavy contact with the front of his car.
There's the in-car camera, which...
Oh, and some more cars in the crash. Several other cars in the crash.
Looks like Jeff Purvis is involved.
Michael Waltrip also involved.
Mayfield was making his way slowly down the backstretch when cars crashed behind him.
Well, I think that they were trying to race the leader back to the caution flag and might have... Well, I won't speculate.
Yeah,
I was watching the monitor.
Maybe we will have a replay here to show us what happened, but I did not see exactly what occurred back there. In any case, there is heavy damage to the 98 car of Jeremy Mayfield. This is the Cale Yarborough car. You can see some yellow sheet metal up on the racetrack. That's from Michael Waltrip's car, who was also involved. That's from the in-car camera on Jeremy Mayfield, looking down the backstretch as the safety vehicles arrive at the car. Jeff Purvis was involved. He apparently is okay. He has the helmet off and the window netting down, and looks like he'll be climbing out of the car. There he is. So Purvis is okay. Let's hope that Jeremy Mayfield is. We'll show you the start of the crash from the speed shot. It may be a little difficult to see, but up in turn number 2 is where the accident occurs.
Jeremy gets the car a little bit sideways. He corrects and comes back and hits the wall head on. And there we'll see Mark Martin go by. Watch as Mark and the 75 car go by. They slow. Now both those cars were able to go by. Now Jeremy Mayfield is going down the straightaway, and all of a sudden, for some reason, the car goes back across the racetrack right in front of Michael and the 44 car. It's like he knocked off the steering linkage in the car and could not steer it. Watch it just go straight across the racetrack.
He took a heavy shot at the back end of the car. However, we are glad to report that Mayfield is out of the car and walking around. Here it is from another angle. There's both Waltrip and Purvis plowing into Mayfield's car and lifting it off the ground.
And we can see all the damage to the Pennzoil Pontiac and to the right rear of Mayfield's car. There's what's
right
left
rear.
of the back end.
Yeah. No fire, though, from the car. And again, Mayfield is out walking around. We have not seen Michael Waltrip. We know that Purvis is okay. And meanwhile, here comes those on the lead lap down to the pits. Here's Jackaroo.
Well, no changes on the second-place car, Terry Labonte. Gary Dehart says the biggest difference between he and his teammate, Jeff Gordon, who was running out front, is the fact that the leader can pick through traffic a little bit easier. Let's check in with Jerry Bunch.
They have already changed right-side tires on Jeff Gordon's car. No change, no chassis adjustment, no air pressure adjustment. He is down and away. And likewise, just behind him, here is Bobby Labonte trying to beat Terry Labonte out of the pit road as Dale Earnhardt still gets some work done on his Goodrich Chevrolet. They were going to take some wedge out. His car had gotten a little bit too tight during that last run. Bob?
Doesn't surprise me because they really cranked on that 3-car during the last pit stop, Benny, more than I think I've ever seen them do on that team.
It's been a long time since radial tires. It's been 3 or 4 years since I've seen that huge of an adjustment on a car. You're right, Bob, during a pit stop.
Jeremy Mayfield's car being hauled away on the rollback. Just look at the damage to that car. The in-car camera, though, still works.
And you can see that they can't get the car all the way back on the wrecker.
Here's a replay from the in-car.
He comes off the corner, and we can see the car starting to get sideways. When he corrects it, it comes back and goes head-on in the wall. And the hood almost leaves. And he's going back across the racetrack. Now, the car is going to get going straight. And here, for some reason, which I don't really know why, it goes back across the racetrack. And I wish we had some in-car sound, because you would hear a huge crash about right now. No,
that was Todd Bodine going by, several others going by. It's just about to happen here.
Darrell Waltrip went by.
Yeah, there it was. Waltrip and Purvis both plowing into the back of Jeremy Mayfield. But he's okay, and the leaders have completed their pit stops. Now others do. We'll take a break right here from our live coverage of the Purolator 500.
In the history of NASCAR's championship series is back. Introducing the race-modified Chevrolet Monte Carlo.
If you don't replace your air and oil filters regularly, you might as well drive your car off a cliff, because dirt can really mess up an engine. Fram Extra Life air filters and Fram Extra Guard oil filters keep out dirt best to protect your engine. Fram, America's #1 premium brand. Pay a little now for a lot later.
Think of all this as a large block of ice. Think of this as a chip off the old block. Coors Light's aged ice cold. So when you think of ice, think of the silver bullet. The only way to chill.
In the middle of my workday, I don't do power lunches. I do power lifts. And when you work out this hard, better use a deodorant that works hard too, and never quits. That's why I use Speed Stick. It gives me 110% protection that lasts all day. And fortunately, all night. Because while I may not have time for lunches, I always manage to find some time for dinner.
Speed Stick, like you, it never quits.
5 minutes.
The top names in tennis take center court in Florida in one of the game's premier events. It's the women's final of the Lipton Championships, March 25th on ABC.
Back at the Purolator 500, our fourth caution of the day. They ran nearly 100 laps of green flag, and then Jeremy Mayfield got in trouble. The good news is that all of the drivers involved in the crash were able to walk away and go to the infield care center. Now, we've got a number of views that we can use. We'll begin with Mark Martin's car.
And listen as Mark comes off the corner and sees a 98 car crash.
Not really sure where he was going for a while. Now here's Mayfield.
And listen, we do have some in-car sound. Listen.
Unbelievable. Michael Waltrip out of his car. John Kernan.
And Michael's already been checked out, and Michael's okay. Michael, what a wild ride out there.
Yeah, I come off turn 2 and was racing a guy and looked in the mirror to check on him, and
Didn't realize Jeremy had wrecked, and nobody said anything, and I just pulled out, saw smoke and pulled out to see what it, to get a look up ahead, and there he said. I mean, just couldn't even, never saw him until I hit him for all the smoke. Tell Mom and Dad and everybody back in Owensboro, hi, Scott, Mercer, I hope you're getting better. Just a sad day. If you want to know a bad weekend, this is it. We had to use a spot to get in the race. We crashed our car. Yesterday, we're leading a bush race, and the radiator falls out on the ground. So I'm sure there's better days ahead for me, but I just seem to get this one.
Michael Walter, Bob.
Well, there'd almost have to be better days for you after that one. So we are under caution once again, 155 laps complete.
Every day, we all find a way. A promise made, a promise kept, giving it our best.
America's most complete source of auto parts, a national warranty program, and customer service only Napa can give. No wonder more people trust Napa to keep their vehicles running.
We keep America running. We keep America running.
We put these glass walls on the course at Road Atlanta to demonstrate the wet traction and performance of the Goodyear Eagle AquaTread. Racing-inspired dual aqua channels sweep water away for outstanding wet traction. Broad shoulders add aggressive grip for precise cornering. Its unique tread compound helps you stick to the road. You get the performance of an Eagle, the wet traction of an AquaTread. Eagle AquaTread, only from Goodyear.
I don't want a roof. I don't want a windshield. I don't want a vanity mirror. I don't want a cup holder. I don't want a shortcut. The Suzuki Intruder.
When traffic congestion changes, the threats to your car's engine change. That's why Quaker State has engineered intelligent oil. Oil that senses the changing threats in your engine and adapts its own molecular structure for continuous protection. So whenever the driving conditions change, so does Quaker State, the intelligent oil for longer engine life.
Now you can change to the intelligent oil and save $3.60 on a case of Quaker State. See store display for details.
Welcome back to Atlanta Motor Speedway, where we have gone green once again from our caution period. And Jeff Gordon continues to lead this race. Rusty Wallace tried desperately when the green flag came out to get a lap back. He was positioned right alongside Jeff Gordon for the restart. But as you can see, he was unable to do so. And so Rusty Wallace continues to be a lap down in 10th position. Here's John Kernan with Jeremy Mayfield.
Once again, glad to report all the drivers involved in that last incident okay, including Jeremy Mayfield, who took a very hard lick into the wall coming out of turn 2.
Yeah, it's real unfortunate, for Mike and all those guys. I hate to see it. Something, we just broke loose on our car, and I got loose and hit the wall, and then Michael come along and hit us, and I just hate it for all of them. I just want to tell my mom I'm all right. I feel good.
Did you cut down a tire, or do you know what happened?
I don't know. We had something wrong with the shock or something, like the right front shock was broke or bent or something. We were just going to try to ride it out, and evidently it broke loose, and the car broke loose on me, and we spun.
Jeremy Mayfield, glad to report he's okay.
That's for sure. All three drivers involved, Michael Waltrip, Jeremy Mayfield, and Jeff Purvis, are okay. We're focused now on the battle for third position. Remember, Rusty Wallace in the 2 car is a lap down. Bobby Labonte in number 18 is in third at the moment. Dale Earnhardt is right behind him, trying to take over a third spot.
Barry Labonte is our second place car, and Jeff Gordon is the leader of the race as Bobby Labonte goes by Rusty, and here comes Earnhardt. That's the picture we're all so familiar with, Dale Earnhardt and Rusty Wallace racing. Right now it's not for position.
Normally they're on the same lap and contesting positions, but not so here today. And also the 17 car of Darrell Waltrip, which we catch a glimpse of once in a while, is also a lap down. Sterling Marlin there in the 4 car. He is 5th. But the 2 and the 17, since they are a lap down, are battling for position. They're battling for 10th.
laps. Morgan is in 7th and Ricky Rudd in 8th. Our 9th place car is Dale Jarrett in the 28th.
He's the last car on the lead lap, and there he is behind Dick Trickle. And ahead of Ted Musgrave.
This is camera on the roof of the 15 car, Dick Trickle.
Derry Cope just ahead. Cope is in 12th position.
And there's the 28 car that I was talking about that is, in fact, on the lead lap, 9th place.
About 3 o'clock Eastern time, and seems like a good time for Paul to run down what's happened so far in the Purolator 500. Paul?
Well, Bob, we've just crossed the halfway point in this race. Right now, it is, of course, Jeff Gordon, the leader. He has been dominant through the early part of this race with 7 lead changes. And we've had 4 caution flags, accounting for 22 laps, and that, of course, is keeping the average speed down. Lap lead, well, Jeff Gordon, of course, has that, followed by Earnhardt, who was the pole sitter and led in the early going. Bobby Labonte, Terry Labonte, Darrell Waltrip, all picking up some time at the lead of the field, as well as Kyle Petty. This race actually began with a yellow. Mike Wallace got into the wall right on the green flag, being pushed from behind. As we look at the cars officially out of the race now, they came back to green flag on the 7th lap, and it was only about 5 laps later that Steve Kinzer and Brett Bodine got together, and that took several cars down to the infield, though most got restarted and back into competition. Then on the 56th lap, at an ideal time for a caution period once again because of debris, and everybody headed for the pits. Mark Martin on that stop, driving the Ford, of course, moved up 1 position and was with the leaders of the race. But then on lap 63, Jeff Gordon took back over. And he has been the dominant power ever since then, until this caution, the 4th of the day, on the 149th lap, when Jeremy Mayfield got into the wall. So that brings us to the current situation on lap 167. Without question, Jeff Gordon is the man to watch here, and the battle between the Fords and Chevrolet is currently being dominated by Chevrolet.
Right now on top of a Ford driven by Mark Martin, who has lost 2 laps now and is back in 20th position.
Yes, Martin ran out of fuel on his first. And look at the 3 abreast coming off the corner. Darrell Waltrip trying to get on the inside of Mark.
And remember, the 17 and the 2, Waltrip and Wallace are battling for position. They're both a lap down, battling for position.
As a matter of fact, both those cars are a lap in front of Mark Martin. This battle for 6th.
Yep. The Ken Schrader has it, and right behind him is Morgan Shepherd.
Goes in the corner, lets the car drift up just a tick, and Morgan tries to get on the inside, just can't do it. Right in front of them is Darrell Waltrip and Rusty Wallace. We see Mark Martin's been able to get by Rusty.
Battling for 10th spot. Waltrip and Wallace. Here comes Schrader.
These guys go in the 3rd corner. Later in the day, that might be a problem as the sun starts to set. It will set down in turn 3 in these drivers' eyes.
Here's Jerry Punch with a report from pit road.
Well, Benny, you're reading the minds of some of these drivers down here. We're halfway through, and the glare is becoming somewhat of a problem in turn 3, so much so that NASCAR has now come to the lead pitch, the Jeff Gordon pitch, and is moving up and down pit road, telling the crew chiefs you can now begin to put tape on the outside of the windshield only, the outside, to help with the glare problem entering turn 3. They have to be given permission to do that, otherwise it is a penalty. But now they are allowed to put tape on the windshield to try to fight that glare entering turn 3. Bob?
All right, and a battle for position on the racetrack between Rudd and Schrader. And this would be for 6th position.
Morgan Shepherd was able to get by Schrader. He's now in the...
He's 6th. This is a battle for 7th.
Yeah.
And now we see Terry Labonte beginning to close in on Jeff Gordon for the lead.
That's the closest anybody's been to Jeff Gordon all day.
It's still a few car leaks, but Terry Labonte may be making a race out of this. We'll be back after this message and a word from our ABC stations.
We put these glass walls on the course at Road Atlanta to demonstrate the Goodyear Eagle Aqua Tread. Dual aqua channels sweep water away for outstanding wet traction. Eagle Aqua Tread, only from Goodyear.
When sports cream, when arms are sore, when legs ache, when muscles hurt. Why sports cream? Massaging sports cream in brings fast pain relief. No medicine-y smell, no odor. Why sports cream? Because it works.
They get no kick being thrown from a plane. 1,000 football doesn't thrill them at all. So tell me, why should it be true that they get a kick out of do 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 do? All right, now.
Tuesday, two kids cover up a murder for the mob.
Your name's Borbellini, right? I decline that.
What do you mean you decline it? And Sylvia reveals a secret from the past.
I was afraid that you would think of me differently.
An all-new Blue, Tuesday, viewer discretion advised. Thursday, meet the rescue team that lifts life on the edge.
So what are we, friends? Lovers?
She claims you tried to kill her. Do you understand how much I need him?
What are you doing here?
He invited us to see you.
Take it to the limit with Extreme, Thursday on ABC.
When I buy auto parts, I want to talk to people who really know what they're doing. The parts pros at Discount Auto Parts. I depend on these folks, like Rich here. I know him, he knows me. He gets me the right part at the right price every single time. Discount Auto Parts. Everything I need for my car and my truck. Everything. The parts pros save me time and money because they're smart. And they're right down the block. You work on your car, go with the pros you know.
Go with the pros you know at Discount Auto Parts.
This is going to be a blast.
Can't wait. Go for it.
Wow, look at all these kids.
Hey, come on.
Back Tools Gator Nationals, March 16th through the 19th, Gainesville Raceway, Gainesville, Florida. Tickets at Ticketmaster.
She had a great time.
Bob Kendrick tonight at 6 and 11 on 28 Tampa Bay News.
Back with more live coverage of the Purolator 500 from Atlanta Motor Speedway. Next Saturday at 3 Eastern, 2 Central, the Professional Bowlers Tour lights up the lanes on Long Island at the Bud Light Championship. And then ABC's Wide World of Sports travels to Romania. A legendary gymnast goes back to her homeland for a reunion with her family and a special performance. Nadia Comaneci returns to Romania Saturday here on ABC Sports. Jeff Gordon is the leader of the Purolator 500 with 178 laps completed. The number 5 car of Terry Labonte is running in second. Here is Darrell Waltrip, who was running 11th, a lap down, but he's off the pace, Benny.
Slow going in turn 3. If he heads for the pits, that means he's got a flat tire. If he keeps going, he's got an engine problem. Jerry, what is it?
Well, Darrell Waltrip was very curt and very to the point a moment ago as he was running an 11th spot on the racetrack. He said it just blew up. Obviously very dejected, but he will try to bring the car down, but there are very long faces out here in the Western Auto pits, Bob.
Tough break for Darrell Waltrip, who started this race in 4th position, has won 3 times here at this racetrack. You're looking at a field summary, a Napa field summary, showing you where everybody is running at this moment. And Mike Wallace, by the way, the car involved in the accident, just as the green flag came out, is 169 laps behind, but he's out on the racetrack.
Well, actually, he's in the pits right now.
He has been on the track, but he's in the pits at the moment.
There we see Jeff Gordon in the familiar position. There we see the 90 car on pit road. They'll have a few minutes to get that car repaired, or NASCAR will ask you to get it back in the garage area.
There's the interval between 1st and 2nd as Terry Labonte chases Jeff Gordon. Terry's brother Bobby running back in third position. Both of these drivers have already won a race in 1995. They look to be the favorites to record a second one, possibly to become the first two-time winner in 1995. Look at this. Jeff has a 1.3-second lead on Terry and 3.1 on Bobby and 6.3 and 7.3 on Earnhardt and Marlin running back and fourth and fifth.
And everyone thought that Dale Earnhardt would be the car to beat today.
Except for the very early going, Benny, he really hasn't been much of a threat, but the race isn't over yet.
And we saw about 100 laps ago when he made that pit stop, the huge chassis adjustment. There's the third place car, Bobby. Now we'll go back to Dale Earnhardt in fourth. And we see Mark Martin has been able to pass both he and Sterling Marlin, but once again, Mark is a couple of laps down in 20th spot.
Fourth and fifth there, Earnhardt and Sterling Marlin. Now here is Morgan Shepherd running in sixth position, and John Kernan has a report on this car.
Well, it appears that the Ford's host may be pinned on the Wood brothers right now. They're the front-running Thunderbird in the sixth position, and they are the all-time leaders for victories here in Atlanta with 9. Now, I was talking to Eddie Wood just a moment ago. They've been making major adjustments on the car. It seems to be helping the cars running better and better. But that wasn't what he was really excited about. It looks like Jeff Burton, though, has blown an engine out on the track and should be headed back in. But getting back to Eddie Wood, he said he wasn't really excited that the car was running better. He was excited because they had passed a Chevy. He said, hey, we even passed 2 Chevys out there.
Every little bit helps. Jeff Burton was running in 25th position, 2 laps down, but has fallen off the pace as we documented. There is Morgan Shepherd. We'll continue our movement back and show you those on the lead lap. Here is the 7th place car of Ricky Rudd.
And Darrell Walton, we saw him slow a moment ago. He did make a pit stop. He's now back on the racetrack. And the 8 car we saw smoking just a moment ago, he still is on the racetrack. He did come in. There's a good battle between Schrader and Dale Jarrett. Both these cars in the lead lap, and Dale Jarrett is in 9th place, the last car on the lead lap.
Yep, this is the battle for 8th position between Schrader and Dale Jarrett. So we've shown you all 9 cars now that are on the lead lap. Running in 10th, the lap down is Rusty Wallace. The 11th position is being held by Dick Trickle, who is also a lap down. Now we have a battle for the 4th position as Marlin goes to the inside of Dale Earnhardt and passes him, picks up 4th.
Tell you what, Dale Earnhardt's not going to sit on the pole anymore. He qualified first. You know, this year he's been qualified at Rockingham and Richmond. He qualified back in the 20s and ran up front all day long. Here he qualifies on the pole, and Jeff Gordon's the fastest car. So Earnhardt needs to change his strategy, go back to qualifying about 25th.
You know, the last time Dale Earnhardt sat in the front position, he won the race. That was in 1990, but he didn't earn that starting position. Time trials were rained out that year, and he started because of points. The last driver to win from the pole position was Buddy Baker in 1979.
Dale Jarrett's getting his car handling just a little bit better as the day goes on, trying to get alongside of. There's Ernie Irvin.
He was the honorary starter of the race, waved the green flag twice, as a matter of fact. And his car, being driven by Dale Jarrett, now is looking to pick up 8th spot from Ken Schrader.
And he does make the pass.
Yep. Car of Jeff Burton is on pit road with its hood up as they work on it. John, what are they doing?
Bob, they're having a problem. The motor, I said just a few moments ago, it looked like he had blown up. Well, apparently they've got a problem with the with one of the oil lines or the oil tank around that area. Back in the oil tank behind the driver's seat, a lot of smoke coming out of there. So it looks like they're going to change some lines also underneath the hood. There was a lot of smoke from the header pipes when he pulled in, but now that is dissipated. So apparently he was leaking some oil from the car somewhere along the line.
continues to lose laps and lose positions. Now back to 28 spots, 6 laps down. Jeff Gordon passes the 77 car driven by Davy Jones. And we see that Gordon is stretching out the interval once again, Benny.
Yes, what it was, I think it was 1.3, I'm sorry, the last time we saw the interval. Now it's 3.4, so he's gained a couple of seconds on Terry Labonte.
And again, running very consistent laps. They only vary 0.3 of a second. Now going to the outside and putting another lap on Kyle Petty. Kyle is now 2 laps down in 18th. Jerry is down in the Rick Hendrick pits. Boy, what a great day they're having, Jerry.
Exactly, Bob. If it isn't tough enough to be a car owner for one car in Winston Cup, how about the guy behind me, Rick Hendrick, who owns 3 cars, all 3 in the top 9. In fact, our leader, Jeff Gordon, second place car, Terry Labonte, and 9th place car, Kenny Schrader. Let's find out what's going through Hendrick's mind here. Rick, pardon us a second. Hey, you got 2 cars running 1 and 2. Now, what goes through your mind when you see Terry Labonte beginning to move in a little bit on Jeff Gordon?
You know, I want to see him race, Jerry, but you don't want to see anything happen. In Martinsville, we were running 1-2. It took 2 of them out, so just want them to run hard and stay apart. I don't make any difference who's in front of each other. Just don't want any friction between the 2 cars.
In the interest of fairness, now you got 3 drivers. Now, Gordon won at Rockingham, Labonte won at Richmond. This should be Schrader's turn by all rights.
Kenny's running a good race today. Darlington is really his track. You know, it's a long ways to go today, but he ought to be really tough at Darlington. He's due. We want to see him win a race.
Rick, we understand the 5 car may be slowing slightly. Have you heard anything on your radios?
Car's just a little bit loose right now. So, you know, he's still got a pretty comfortable lead on 3rd, so we're just kind of riding right now.
Thanks a lot. Good luck to you. Let's go to Jackaroo. Jack?
Well, Jerry, as you were talking to the car owner, the driver, Terry Labonte, radioed into the Hendrick chief mechanic, Gary Dehart, that the car is beginning to get very, very loose. Rather than get the friction that Hendrick was talking about, he's backed off the throttle just a bit.
But still runs second. Hendrick cars running 1st, 2nd, and 9th. There is Terry Labonte, who is second to Jeff Gordon, who continues to lead the Purolator 500 live from Atlanta Motor Speedway.
Why do I think the Whopper just beat the Big Mac 2-1 in the taste test? We'll think about it. The Whopper is one big, juicy, flame-broiled burger complemented by the perfect-sized bun. The Big Mac, on the other hand, is stacked bread with 2 smaller fried burgers in between. Bun, burger, bun, burger, bun. Say that 3 times fast. Better yet, don't. You might sprain your tongue. And then how would you eat your Whopper?
The burger that beat the Big Mac. The Whopper Value Meal for $2.99 at Burger King.
Wrenching for the pros is one of the world's most exciting jobs. The action, the drama, the glory. But best of all, you get to play with all the Craftsman tools you've ever dreamed of. The 1,600 Craftsman hand tools, tough enough to be the official tools of NASCAR, NHRA, and IndyCar racing. Only at Sears.
Man has always been fascinated with speed. But winning is more than a flash of speed. It's a measure of skill. A test of guts. That's why the true spirit of NASCAR lies not in the machine, but in the man who drives it. We're proud to be part of this great sport. Busch, the official beer of NASCAR.
Do you know how much sprinkles you got? Well, from this can, then you start. Fill the bowl from a Pringles can. Got as much as this bag, amazing man. Can you believe how much sprinkles you got? So pop, the Pringles don't stop. Get the great taste you want, not the greasy mess this bag got. Pringles, once you pop, so much more than you ever thought. You can't stop.
Put the world's top drivers in identical cars and let them duel at Daytona, and you've got the first test in the International Race of Champions, next on ABC Sports.
Track facts laps are brought to you by Quaker State, the intelligent oil for longer engine life.
Driver makes a pit stop. We often see a crewman go across the wall. This fella put an extension through the rear window, has a ratchet on top, turns a bolt that sits on top of the left rear spring, changing the chassis. There's also a bolt on the right rear where they can change. Now there's a third. There the extension goes through the ratchet, a piece that goes up and down, adjusting the rear panhard bar. There it is. As the bar goes upward, it loosens the car. As it goes down on the right side, it tightens the car up. You can loosen both sides of those things and move the bar up and down significantly, but that's just a slight adjustment they can make.
And here's a car that needs a chassis adjustment, Terry Labonte.
Terry Labonte needs one desperately because Martin just blew by him. Martin a couple laps down, but is running very fast. He blew by Terry Labonte and just drove off.
Now give me in layman's terms here in the next 15 seconds about the panhard bar as we watch Rudd and Jarrett battle for 7.
It's a bar that keeps the body located with the rear wheels, and as you move the bar up and down, it changes the rear roll center. As you move the bar up, as I said, it loosens the car down, it tightens it up. Race for position.
Yep.
All three of those cars in the lead lap.
Jarrett earlier passed Schrader, now comes up to pass Ricky Rudd.
That's 7th, 8th, and 9th.
Looks like that we have had in the last few minutes a cloud cover come overhead to kind of cool things off here. It isn't a warm day by any means, a very comfortable day, but still we don't have the sunshine that we had.
And that will change these chassis.
Yep. All right, let's show you another Napa field summary here as we show you where everybody is running. Labonte's are 2nd and 3rd, and Dale Earnhardt, the pole sitter, running in 5th spot. You can see 9 cars on the lead lap. Now here comes Schrader back to challenge Jarrett.
Tries to get inside. Jarrett can't make the move. All these fellows have had some kind of problem or the other. Greg Saxon ran so well. Took his car to the garage area. Kendra and Parsons both in that crash down in turn 1.
Early in the race.
Now, Schrader's going to try it on the outside.
Yep. May have more luck up there. Let's see. Off the 4th corner onto the straightaway. Yes, Schrader got him.
Meanwhile, Earnhardt is going back by Sterling Marlin coming off the 2nd corner. Takes over 4th place.
So don't count Earnhardt out just yet.
No.
He's up to 4th, but we've got a long way to go. 121 laps to be exact. Dale Earnhardt is the only driver so far in the NASCAR Winston Cup season to finish in the top 5 in all 3 previous races. Now, he and Mark Martin, the only 2 drivers to have top 10 finishes in all the events, but Martin is well off the pace, as we have documented currently in 16. Earnhardt's victories here in the Purolator 500 came in 90, in 88, and in 80, and he won the fall race in 84, 86, and 89, a 6-time winner. But Earnhardt at the moment is 12.6 seconds behind Jeff Gordon.
And that is a half lap. For a mile and a quarter.
Bobby Hamilton and Kyle Petty being passed by Earnhardt and Sterling Marlin. There's Terry Labonte holding on to 2nd position despite his handling problems.
There we can see Terry Labonte as he exits 2nd corner now. There's the other Labonte, Bobby, and that's just how close they are. Bobby's slowly been catching his older brother.
Just a great day for Bobby Labonte today, who started 2nd and has been in about the top 3 all afternoon. He has led part of the race. I don't think he has fallen lower than 3rd except during pit stops. Now we are seeing scheduled pit stops begin. Here is Mark Martin coming down. Steve Grissom just completed a pit stop. He pulls out of the pits as Martin stops. And the number 1 car, Rick Mast, is also in for a scheduled pit stop.
He just changed 4 tires. He's out in the way. And Mark Martin certainly doesn't want to run out of fuel as he did earlier and lose all that time.
Coming down are Joe Nemechek and Bill Elliott. These are cars that are not on the lead lap. Focusing in on Bill Elliott, a 5-time winner here at this racetrack and a 2-time winner of this event. And Rudd is slowing down. Could he be out of fuel? Hard to say.
It's hard to say.
But he's coming in. He's down off the banking, moving down pit road.
We've seen cars today run out of fuel. As Elliott and both Nemechek leave, here comes Rudd.
His pit is down toward turn number 1. And he finally makes it there. Here's Jerry Punch with Ricky Rudd.
Remember, we showed you the right front tire early this afternoon on Ricky Rudd's car that came off that was nearly separated. Well, Ricky Rudd apparently cut a right front tire, and that's why he slowed. He was going to pit in 2 laps anyway, but it cost him some valuable time getting in the pits. They meanwhile have changed all 4 tires. He is away. Let's go to Jackaroo.
Well, Jerry, a big chassis adjustment being made. About a half turn on car number 28, Dale Jarrett. In the interim, your second-place car that has a serious chassis problems being loose, he's on pit road, Terry Labonte. Now, Mike Slattery has brought that ratchet that Benny Parsons was talking about, has stuck it in the back, and now he's making 1 full, 2, actually a turn and a half. Let's check in Dale Earnhardt's pit.
Right side tire is already going on Earnhardt's car. Once again, they are going to try to take some wedge out. Earnhardt said the car is getting tighter and harder to turn coming off the corner. Left side tires are on, and he is down and away as Terry Labonte now comes down pit road, or Bobby Labonte, I should say, the Interstate Battery Chevrolet. And likewise, they will put a little bit of tape on the windshield. They're cleaning the windshield right now, changing right side tires. They bumped the spoiler just slightly and caught on the contact as Dick Trickle has run over a tire on pit road. The right side tire has come off, Benny. Left side.
The left front tire is off Dick Trickle's car. He's sitting there in pit road, and they have trouble with the right rear on Bobby Labonte's car as Rusty Wallace drives away. Come on, help me lift the car up, he's saying. The jack man is telling everybody, come out here, let's lift this car up and try to get the jack under the car. Now the DuPont crew, Ray Evernham, is saying, get this car out here. I want to pit. Here my car comes right now. Move.
But here comes Jeff Gordon. He's going to be pitting right beside it, Jerry.
And actually, NASCAR would allow some adjustment because of the car in the middle of pit road. Ray Evernham felt helpless because he could not get the Dick Trickle Ford to move. Meanwhile, they have already changed the right side tires on the car number 24. Left side tires go up. They clean the windshield. They spray the windshield. It's full of fuel as Gordon's pit stop is completed. And Dick Trickle's car still sits in the middle of pit road, and now they borrow an air wrench from the Gordon crew to try to put a tire on the left front as Kenny Schrader is in the pit.
On the left side tires of Kenny Schrader's Monte Carlo. Schrader's work is completed down and away. No adjustments. Morgan Shepherd, the leading Ford Thunderbird, who had been running in 6th before this sequence of pit stops started, pulls in. Lynn, Eddie Wood go to work along with the rest of the crew. It'll be a 4-tire change. They'll also, Benny Parsons talking about the Panhard bar. They will make an adjustment with that. Go up at least a round on that, trying to loosen the car up. As you see, Lynn Wood also making the chassis adjustment there in that right rear. Morgan Shepherd gunning the engine. It looks like a pretty good pit stop. 18.5 seconds as Morgan Shepherd is down and away.
Among the better pit stops that we saw during that sequence from the Morgan Shepherd crew. But out on the racetrack, it is still Jeff Gordon's race. Gordon has completed his pit stop and finds himself back out into the lead once again. We'll take another break and be back with more of our live ABC coverage of the Purolator 500.
Now, an oil made just for your hard-working engine. 4x4 from Quaker State. Off-roading, extreme temperatures, towing and hauling. They all make your light truck or 4x4 work extra hard and could shorten its life. Why settle for a conventional car oil? Get 4x4 from Quaker State.
Now, an independent test showed 4x4 superior to leading conventional car oils in protecting against deposits that can shorten engine life.
Simply mind-blowing. Best-looking video game, period. Spectacular. The best game out there. 100, 100, 100. A+. A step up from the rest. A classic. You can stop rubbing your eyes. As good as the hype. The best graphics ever on the game. Whoa.
This is the inspiration behind Goodyear's newest AquaTread, the all-new Wrangler AquaTread for light trucks and sport utilities. 2 aqua channels sweep water away. You get the sheer rugged toughness of a Goodyear Wrangler and the outstanding wet traction of a Goodyear AquaTread. Welcome to the AquaTread family. The new 50,000-mile Wrangler AquaTread, only from Goodyear.
What, is this your idea of excitement? Let me tell you about exciting, okay? Driving around a racetrack at over 200 miles an hour, that's exciting. These are just flakes.
Well, what do you think?
These are really good. They're crispy, too.
Really?
Yeah, they're mighty good even with nothing on them. What are they?
Hey, Charlie.
Yeah. Kellogg's Corn Flakes? How could I be so dumb?
You got 500 miles to think about it.
Kellogg's is proud to sponsor NASCAR champion Terry Labonte.
Jeff Gordon continues to lead the NASCAR Winston Cup Purolator 500. Tomorrow night on ABC, it's an all-new episode of Coach at 8, 7 Central. Then Shelley Fabre guests on a special edition of A Whole New Ball Game. Then Tom Cruise and Nicole Kidman star in the dramatic conclusion of Far and Away, all tomorrow night on ABC. While Jeff Gordon continues to lead this race, let's go back and find out what happened to Dick Trickle. First of all, we're going to show you from the in-car camera.
There we see Bobby Labonte. They're working on the left front. Some guys wiping off the grill. And they had some kind of problem, and Trickle drives away, and boom, the left front tire. What? Here's the angle from the camera down in turn 1, right behind Bobby Labonte's car. They let the jack down, and Trickle drives off, and there the tire comes rolling down pit road.
And then the crew had to come out and physically lift the car so that they could get a jack under it before they could get the tire on. Meanwhile, while that was going on, Jeff Gordon, the leader of the race, had to come in for a pit stop, and his pit was located almost directly beside the problems that Dick Trickle was having. Now let's go to Jerry Punch.
Guys, the problem Trickle had doesn't happen very often. When it does, it can create a disaster, as we saw a moment ago in the pits. Donnie Wingo, the crew chief, was putting the lug nuts on the left front tire, and the lug nut jammed in the gun here. And no matter what you do, spinning the gun, trying to pry it out, the lug nut would not come out. Now, he'd only had put one lug nut on. He's trying to pry this lug nut out. They drop the jack. Trickle pulls away, and of course, you saw what happened. That left front tire fell off. Yeah, now the lug nut comes out, but a little bit too late for Dick Trickle. Back upstairs, Bob.
All right, the 3 car and the 18 car are moving through traffic. They're running 3rd and 4th at the moment as Terry Labonte continues to run in 2nd place. Earnhardt 3rd, and Bobby Labonte is 4th as we show you the entire field summary courtesy of Napa.
And Schrader's going by Dale Jarrett on the outside. That's the 7th spot. Labonte's trying to get Earnhardt. Didn't Earnhardt just pass Labonte?
I think they've been going at it, back and forth for the last couple of laps, and Schrader and Jarrett have been going at it for a long time, it seems.
Labonte as
now Bobby almost in a passing position here on Earnhardt.
I guess I'm told that Earnhardt won the race out of the pits, that Labonte has caught Dale Earnhardt and is now trying to get back by him.
And it looks like that Bobby Labonte is going to pass Earnhardt.
That's right. They have trouble with the right rear on Bobby Labonte's car during his pit stop. That's right.
So move Labonte up to 3rd. Bobby, that is. You can't refer to them by last name because Bobby is running 3rd and Terry 2nd. There is Dick Trickle, the car who lost the tire in the pits. He's back up to speed, and he's running 25th, 5 laps down, Dick Trickle.
Joe Nemechek behind Earnhardt.
He's in 20th spot, 3 laps down. As we have 99 laps to go in this 328th lap affair. Moving up to 7th position. The Hendrick cars are now 1st, 2nd, and 7th.
I think you held a poll down in the garage area, the most impressive driver of 1995. Well, I guess Jeff Gordon would be first, but Bobby Labonte would certainly have to be second.
Let's try to show you some of the, actually we'll try to show you all of the drivers that are out there. There's the leader, Jeff Gordon. These won't be in, of course, the way they are running in the serial scoring. These are the way they are on the racetrack. There is Jimmy Spencer, and a tough afternoon for Jimmy.
Yes, he crashed out in turn 1 when Steve Kinzer and Brett Bodine made contact. He was trying to avoid the spinning hit. Crashed in the wall.
He had to take a provisional to get into the race. Finds himself at the moment in 34th position. Jimmy Spencer, 78 laps down, spending a lot of times behind the wall, getting repairs made to the car. There is Mark Martin in the number 6 Ford, and he is in 12th position, 2 laps down.
Next car on the sequence is Ricky Rudd. Tied Ford. He is currently in 9th spot, a lap down. Remember, he had a problem with the right front, as Jerry Post reported, and lost the lap.
Of him is the number 5 car, driven by Terry Labonte, who is running in 2nd position.
And reported that his car was loose before the last pit stop. I'm sure Gary Dehart and the crew made the adjustments that Labonte wanted. There's the straight arrow car.
He's had a pretty good afternoon, although he's 2 laps down at the moment, shown in 13th position, Derek Cope.
I've been using that mane and tail. Don't you think my hair looks a lot better, Bob?
What hair, Benny? There's the 33 car of Robert Presley. He's 68 laps down in 33rd position. He's been in and out of the pits virtually since the start of the race, Benny.
And the reason he went in the pits, they said they missed the combination. They're trying to find what it takes to get around the Atlanta Motor Speedway. They changed springs, shocks, did some assortment of things. There we see Bobby Labonte, the Interstate car, currently our 3rd place car.
By the way, while we're talking about, while you were just a moment ago, that car used to be driven, the one that Robert Presley drives, used to be driven by Harry Gant. Harry had a crash on his motorcycle this past week, and we want to wish him the best wishes.
Yes, 5 broken ribs, ruptured spleen, but Harry is home. He's doing okay as Dave Marcus is going around the racetrack. Another car that crashed out in turn 1 with the Brett Bodine Steve Kinzer crash.
Dale Earnhardt holding down 4th position at the moment.
Earnhardt was our pole sitter here this afternoon.
Eligible for $15,200 in Unocal bonus money. Here's the number 9 car of Lake Speed in 19th position, 3 laps down.
Oh, that sun is heated to be a problem up in turn 3 now.
You can see what we referred to a little bit earlier, the glare that the drivers encounter in turn 3 this time of year here in Atlanta.
This is from inside Dick Trickle's car. Burger King car, Joe Nemechek. Nemechek is 20th. He's 3 laps down.
Here comes a 75 of Todd Bodine, 23rd, 4 laps down.
And he's lost a couple engines this weekend. It's not been a good weekend for the Bodine brother.
No. Todd has performed very well in the first 3 races of the year, but things have not gone his way today. Of course, right behind him is the 5th place car of Sterling Marlin.
The Daytona 500 winner for the 2nd year in a row. And there's Ricky Craven, the top rookie in 1995 so far.
And he is the top rookie in this race at the moment, finding himself in 14th spot, 2 laps down. Ricky Craven driving for the Larry Hedrick team.
And that's not an opinion, folks. They have a point system in this.
There's Bill Elliott. Back home again in Dawsonville, not too far from Atlanta. But things again not going well for Bill here today. He's 3 laps down at 21st.
And Rusty Wallace right now is in 10th place. He's a lap down. He and Ricky Rudd, the only 2 cars 1 lap down.
Morgan Shepherd is on the lead lap. He's in 6th position, driving for the Wood Brothers. The Wood Brothers have won more races here at Atlanta than any other team, 12.
Let's just see how bad the glare is as Morgan Shepherd comes off turn 2, the condominium, and heads down the back straightaway. That's Rusty Wallace right in front of him. Now just keep track of Rusty Wallace, folks, as Morgan drives down in turn 3 into a setting sun. Not too bad.
And he's probably got the tape on the windshield there, doesn't he?
He has, that is tape right underneath the rearview mirror.
Yeah, that helps.
John Andretti, Kmart Little Caesars car. Up front of his Haas, Tim Brewer, the crew chief.
He had his best Winston Cup finish last week at 10th at Richmond. He's 15th today, 2 laps down. And right behind him is Greg Sachs.
And Sachs ran so well early on, had to go in the garage area and work on the car. He's back on the racetrack, and he's still running well.
There's another one of our cars on the lead lap. That's Ken Schrader in car number 25. And right behind him is the 28 car of Dale Jarrett, and he is in 8th position. So that's really the closest battle for position that we have on the track at the moment.
Next car behind these two is the Family Channel car of the 40 Greg Sachs. We saw him already. Yeah, I said it was the 16 car, but in fact, it's the 20, we've seen the 37 already. It's the 29 of Steve Grissom. He's 2 laps down in 16th place.
Next car we pick up on will be the number 11 car of Brett Bodine, 24th at the moment, 4 laps down. There he is, the Junior Johnson ride.
He was involved in that. Actually, he didn't spin or have any contact. He had slight contact with Steve Kinzer, but it didn't damage his car whatsoever. He continued on. But there goes a leader right by him.
Putting him another lap down. That'll make him 5 laps down.
The only car I think we haven't seen is Ted Musgrave, and he is slow. Ooh! Did they almost make contact?
Looked like they did.
16th car is slow.
Let's see. Ted is, where is he? 22nd, 4 laps down.
Well, there's another car we didn't see. Kyle Petty, the Coors Light car. Kyle is currently 17th, 3 laps down. And his father's car, we don't think we've seen. Bobby Hamilton, the STP car. Did we miss Rick Ness, too?
I think maybe we did. He's in 11th position, just 2 laps down.
Corbin's just running too fast.
Yeah, just in the length of time that we have been doing our pan backs here, we've seen Jeff a couple of times. There's Jeff Bodine in car number 7.
Still out there. He's been in and out of the pit several times.
60 laps down. Now, those are all the cars that are on the racetrack. And there is Jeff Gordon. How much of a lead does he have? 13.2 on Terry Labonte. And back to Sterling Marlin in 5th. There's 21.7 seconds. Jeff Gordon is looking for his 2nd victory of 1995. We'll be right back.
Red Dog here. Look at him. Making fools of themselves. And for what? A pat on the head and a dog biscuit?
What do you think of that?
You got a mind of your own.
Oh.
Know what I'm saying?
You do what's right for you.
Hey, buddy, nothing personal.
Red Dog beer. Bold yet smooth, easy to drink.
But I don't jump through hoops for nobody.
When traffic congestion changes, the threats to your car's engine change. That's why Quaker State has engineered intelligent oil. Oil that senses the changing threats in your engine and adapts its own molecular structure for continuous protection. So whenever the driving conditions change, so does Quaker State, the intelligent oil for longer engine life.
Now you can change to the intelligent oil and save $3.60 on a case of Quaker State. See store display for details.
You know, working at AutoZone is more than just looking up parts or ringing up sales. Most of all is listening. Because my customers know more about their cars than I'll ever know. They know every rattle by heart. I mean, that car is their baby. So when they got a problem they're going to fix themselves, I'm going to do my best to help them get whatever they need, no matter what it takes. Because people like that, they don't deserve anything less than the best I can give them.
This is the inspiration behind Goodyear's newest AquaTread, the all-new Wrangler AquaTread for light trucks and sport utilities. 2 aqua channels sweep water away. You get the sheer rugged toughness of a Goodyear Wrangler and the outstanding wet traction of a Goodyear AquaTread. Welcome to the AquaTread family. The new 50,000-mile Wrangler AquaTread, only from Goodyear.
Sunday on ABC, he fought against all odds to claim his destiny. Tom Cruise, Nicole Kidman, a network premiere far and away Sunday.
Back at Atlanta Motor Speedway, the Purolator 500, we have 251 of 328 laps into the record book. You're looking at the leader, Jeff Gordon. ABC seems to be lucky for Jeff. Remember, he won the Brickyard 400 last year, and he has been the dominant power in this race thus far. At the start of the race, we talked about the young comers within NASCAR racing. He is certainly one of them. Down in third position right now is the 18 car, Bobby Labonte, so he's had a pretty good day as well. In that battle between Ford and Chevrolet, well, they started out with 6 Chevys in the top 10, 3 Fords and 1 Pontiac. Now it's 6 Chevys and 4 Fords, and the hope seems to be Morgan Shepherd, who currently runs in 6th place. So it's a fairly safe hope at that. Let's go pit side and Jerry Punch.
Jeff Gordon's pit crew has been nicknamed the Rainbow Warriors because of the brightly colored uniforms that they wear as associated with their sponsor, DuPont. Now, their pit board actually is a tomahawk with a rainbow attached. However, they have a ritual here in the Gordon pit. Whenever Gordon passes a car that's been on the lead lap, they reach over and pull that rainbow, and that tomahawk begins to chop here as Gordon goes by and gives it a big smile. How appropriate here in Atlanta we would have the tomahawk chop going on here at the Speedway.
Well, if you got to pull that thing, you've been pretty busy today because he has been cruising through this field constantly. We've had a light scattered cloud cover come over the Speedway, but it hasn't affected the surface. Bright sun on the surface most of the way. Now, if they can continue to run green, we expect the next stops to come somewhere just before the 300th lap, and that should take them all the way to the checkered flag with just one more stop to go. Now Gordon closes on Jarrett, Ford's other hope, currently running in 8th place, and not if, but when he moves around that car, that will leave just 7 cars on the lead lap.
Yeah, Jarrett, tell those guys to get ready because here he goes. Right on the outside of Dale Jarrett and goes right by him down the back straightaway. There it is.
There you go. All right, let's go to Jack Arute, who has a story on the 18 car driven by Bobby Labonte.
Well, Bob, at the top of the show, we were talking about the emergence of the young Lions, and all through the show, you guys have talked about how well Bobby Labonte has done in 1995. Well, I talked to Bobby earlier today, and he said, you know, the best way to put my success into perspective is 5 years ago, I had a Chevrolet Camaro, a used Chevrolet Camaro, and it cost me $268 a month for the car charge, for the car payment. He says, nowadays, it costs me $500 a month just for my cellular phone bill. He says, my, how much and how great things have changed for me in just 5 short years.
Yes, indeed. You know, the other thing that's interesting, I did a little checking, and 15 of the 42 drivers that started today's race have 3 years or less experience in NASCAR Winston Cup racing, including, of course, Bobby Labonte. There are 5 rookies that started the race. There are 3 drivers that are in their 3rd full year of NASCAR Winston Cup competition, and there are 7 that are in just their 2nd year of NASCAR Winston Cup competition. Well, a lot of improvements have been made here at Atlanta Motor Speedway since we've been coming here. Bruton Smith, the owner of this facility, has built some gorgeous condominiums that tower over a grandstand in turn number 2. Now, Bruton Smith has also made a major announcement here in the last few days. Texas Motor Speedway is going to be built. These are some artist renderings of the facility, which will be built down in the area of Dallas-Fort Worth, and it should give the NASCAR Winston Cup Series another track on which to compete. Bruton Smith, the owner of this facility and the new Texas World Speedway. Let's go to Dr. Jerry Punch. Jerry?
Thank you, Bob. We have a very special guest with us, Mr. O. Bruton Smith, who's the CEO of Speedway Motorsports Incorporated, the parent company of Charlotte and Atlanta Motor Speedway. Mr. Smith, a lot of excitement. 10 days ago, you announced the official site for your new racetrack, patterned after Charlotte. It'll be just north of Fort Worth. Now, our first question is, what's the timetable? When will you begin, and when will you have it finished?
Well, of course, the next announcement we'll have is the groundbreaking ceremony, and we hope to be able to get that done in the very, very near future. And I don't have a date yet, but we're working toward that now, Jerry, and hopefully after that comes groundbreaking. So that's the process.
With some 69 Fortune 500 companies involved in our sport, it seems like Texas would be a market everyone would covet. Do you have a shot at getting a Winston Cup race there?
Oh, I tell you, I think that our sport needs that Dallas-Fort Worth market. It's a huge market in North Texas, or all of Texas. And, of course, what I'm building there, I can assure you the whole Southwest will be proud of it. And we're putting everything we've learned in 35 years into it. And we're just thrilled about it. And I just can't wait to get started on it.
Well, we know if you're involved with it, and you are, it will be a first-class facility like Charlotte and like in Atlanta. Good luck to you.
Well, thank you, and I appreciate that confidence, and I promise I won't let you down.
Thanks a lot, Bob. Mr. Bruton Smith here, chairman of the board for both these speedways. Back to you.
We mentioned that the facility could provide a venue to which NASCAR Winston Cup would go, but will it, Benny?
I don't know, but certainly Bruton doesn't have a date in his pocket yet. And Billy France last November in New York said that the only way we can add dates now is drop a date. And I don't think we have anyone on the Winston Cup circuit that wants to drop a date. Bruton now has 4 races, 2 here in Atlanta, 2 in Charlotte, but certainly dropping one of those dates for Atlanta is not an option I think people want to explore. So it's hard to say exactly what's going to happen. But I guarantee you, Bruton is so excited about building this racetrack. In fact, all he talks about is getting this racetrack in Texas off the ground.
If you key on something that he said there, it would be something the state of Texas would be proud of. If you use this track, you mentioned, Bob Jenkins, how long we've been coming here and what a substantial change has occurred here with the new condominiums and the VIP skyboxes and everything. Same thing over at Charlotte. They do build and maintain a really quality facility.
And there's no question that is a good market for auto racing down there in that area, not only for the stock cars, but I'm sure the Indy cars, Paul, would also like to penetrate that market.
Oh, Dallas-Fort Worth, everybody wants to be there, and the Devil's Bowl at Mesquite is not serving the 100,000-person crowd.
You see, as we look back from Morgan Shepherd's car, the leader, Jeff Gordon. Now, if he should come up and pass Morgan Shepherd, and again, it's not so much if as when, there will only be 5 cars on the lead lap as Morgan Shepherd is running 6th.
And there will be no Fords on the lead lap.
Yes. Here's John Kernan with more on Morgan Shepherd.
Well, I just talked to Eddie Wood, and he says, you got something to throw out on the racetrack? Please do. We need a caution very, very badly. The car that's been pushing tight all day long continues to be so. Morgan having to fight the car as we see Jeff Gordon go by Derek Cope now set his sights on Morgan to try and put him a lap down. But these guys in the Wood Brothers pit want to see that yellow flag fly very, very soon.
Has there ever been a driver lap the entire field here at Atlanta in this race? Yes, it happened in 1978 most recently when Bobby Allison was a lap over Dave Marcus at the end. In fact, it's been done 6 times in the Purolator 500.
Okay, here comes Jeff Gordon. He's on the inside of Morgan, going down towards turn 1. Well, Morgan is trying his best to hold him off, but then he's fighting a losing battle.
Yes, to no avail.
Oh, don't come up now. Wow. I didn't know to come up.
And he's passed another car. 5 cars now on the lead lap, and all of them are Chevys. Mark Martin, meanwhile, has come in. Jackaroo.
Such a disappointment for Mark Martin and his crew. Before the race, they thought they had a great shot to keep up with the Monte Carlos, but that has not been the case after running out of fuel. They continue to make chassis adjustments on the right rear quarter of the car. All 4 tires are going in, but right now for Mark Martin, it's an emotional roller coaster, and one where he's on the downside at the present time.
Steve Grissom has just completed service on his car and begins to roll away. Rick Mast heading for his assigned pit area.
There he is. He comes to stop. Right side's going on the car.
And you can see the sign being hung out for the 28 car, which is coming down pit road. John Kernan.
Rick Mascrew in the middle of a 4-tire change. This is a new car. They'd run well last fall with a different car, but they built this new car, brought it here. Rick said he had no idea what would be in store for him until he got into the race, and they've run near the top 10. Let's go down to Jackaroo.
Well, John Kernan, Dale Jarrett, who used to drive a Chevrolet, now at the wheel of the Thunderbird, he takes on 4 tires, makes a chassis adjustment, and they will make their final pit stop of the day. You know, earlier in the week, Jarrett said if he knew then what he knew now, he might have stayed with the Chevrolet.
18.7 second pit stop for Dale Jarrett.
Rusty Wallace coming in the pits, making his final pit stop. Jackaroo.
1 year ago, this was the fastest pit crew you'd ever see week in and week out. But a change on pit stops, not allowing men to flip-flop back and forth across the wall, has made everything a little bit different here on pit road. For Rusty Wallace, 4 tires, the final gallons of fuel being added, and he is off and away in 18.6 seconds.
Good pit stop for the team as Rusty Wallace rolls back out on the racetrack.
One reason these cars are stopping just a little bit short, they could probably run a few more laps, but they want to get on the racetrack with those fresh tires and try to make up as much ground on the leader, Jeff Gordon, as much as they can, hoping that they'll get a caution flag about 5 or 6 laps from now.
Here's Bobby Hamilton rolling in. Jerry?
And Richard Petty's STP Pontiac will get what should be its final scheduled service of the day as Bobby Loomis and company change all 4 tires. While just in front of them, the car number 10, Ricky Rudd, pulling in his tied Ford. So the 43 car, left side tires coming off, going on. It's full of fuel. What a great run they had at Richmond a week ago, getting a top 10 finish for Bobby Hamilton. All lug nuts are on. He is down and away. Work being completed now on Ricky Rudd's car as they finally get the left side. Problem somewhat with the left rear. Now it's off the jack, and Rudd is away.
Benny, there's something else hanging over these pit stops behind besides the sign that's hung out, and it looks like it's on the end of a long fishing pole. What is that?
Those are cameras, video cameras, videoing all these pit stops. These guys videoing them, and after the pit stop, they go back, replay them, and see what they did right, what they did wrong, and try to change things. Almost every team has one now.
Dale Earnhardt is coming down. He's a rather long way from you, Jerry, but he'll be there before too long.
And they have been wrestling with a car that has been very, very tight. As Earnhardt comes in and right behind him about 100 yards, comes in a total 500 winner for the 2nd year in a row, Sterling Marlin. A pair of Chevrolets, both on the lead lap pitting what would be their final pit stop of the afternoon. Right side tires are on the Earnhardt car. Likewise, lug nuts going on the Kodak Chevy. Crew now working on the left side of Dale Earnhardt's machine. They scamper to the left side of Sterling Marlin's car. Earnhardt is off the jack. He is away. Good pit stop for the Children's crew. They pull the jack on Sterling Marlin, and he is down and away in less than 22 seconds.
87 car of Joe Nemechek also coming down. Benny, these pit stops are coming with about 55 laps to go. They can go the rest of the distance, can't they?
No problem whatsoever making them fuel the rest of the way.
All right, here's the 18 car of Bobby Labonte on its way down for its what should be final pit stop of the race. Interstate Batteries crew goes to work. Here's Jerry.
In fact, Bobby Labonte wanted to try to stay out about 3 or 4 more laps until Jeff Gordon pitted. Gordon could make it until lap 280 on fuel if he needed to, but he couldn't make it on fuel, so Labonte brings the Interstate Batteries car in for his final stop. The windshield being cleaned, there's already tape there. As the car number 21 comes down pit road, and John Kernan is there.
Changing left side tires, Eddie Wood puts on the tire, guns the air rinse, Morgan Shepherd guns the engine. They are down and away. Another fast pit stop. Let's go down to Terry Labonte's pit and Jackaroo.
Well, Terry Labonte is going to make one important chassis adjustment on this final pit stop. They have changed the tire pressure in hopes of getting the car just perfect for this last round of circuits around the Atlanta 1.5-mile superspeedway. You know, they compete against the Rainbow Warriors of Team Hendrick, but in 19.2 seconds, they say they want to be known as the Rooster Brigade. But here comes the Rainbow Warriors. Time to go to work, Jerry.
And watch it as they will go to work as the Rainbow Warriors get set for their final pit stop. Remember the miscue they had in Daytona? That was embarrassing, frustrating, and downright ugly for this team. They've had several meetings. They realized that 2 members of this pit crew are brand new off the championship crew of a year ago. It is their job to get their driver back on the racetrack and preserve what should be a certain victory here in Atlanta. Right side tires are on. Thus far, no miscues. But here's where the problem was in Daytona. The jack fell in Daytona. No jack problem right now. Left front, left rear tires are on. Left nuts are on. They pull it. A perfect pit stop in 19.9 seconds, and Gordon heads back to turn 1.
They did make a little bit of a chassis adjustment. Did you notice that?
Did they really?
Yes, they did in the right rear. There's Dick Trickle going out.
And obviously these crews can make a faster pit stop in 19.9 seconds, but why should you worry about, speed when you have a 12, 15-second lead? Be sure that you do it as correctly as possible. They did. It was a couple of seconds slow.
And John Andretti drops off the pace. He's coming in for a pit stop. I don't think he has been in for a stop during this sequence, so this would be routine. Jackaroo is there as John comes down.
Young John Andretti and the crew waiting for Andretti to pull onto pit road to see what the problem might be. Tim Brewer, he will lead the crew. Michael Crenniff is sitting atop the pit cart. They will go to the right side, taking out fuel. It will be a 4-tire change. Looks to me, gentlemen, as if this is just his final stop. Now, they stopped out of sequence, and Tim Brewer said that the car was handling just so badly, they thought a change of tires would help. Obviously, they could have gone a lot further without more fuel, and they had, in a 20.3-second stop, they had a right front that is not blistered. It's blown apart.
So that's going to drop John Andretti back in the standings a bit, down to 19.
Now, I talked about Dale Jarrett stopping a little bit short just a moment ago. There he is. Now, if we move behind this group of cars, we'll see that Jeff Gordon, the leader, has not lapped the 28 car. The 28 car is now back in the lead lap. He was able to run those 5 or 6 laps on those fresh tires that much faster than Jeff Gordon. Now, he just hoped for a caution flag in this 2 or 3 lap window, because Jeff Gordon's going to blow by him in just a second.
The 25 car has not pitted. He is the leader of the race. We're seeing a situation here of fresh tires and old tires. Dale Earnhardt with the pressure ones is going to be able to go by Ken Schrader, but Schrader should be in before too long for his last scheduled pit stop.
Kenny Schrader had a good weekend here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. His car won the ARCA race on Friday with Jenny Horton driving. He finished second in the Busch Light 300, the Busch Grand National race yesterday, and currently is leading the Purolator 500.
Until now, when he comes in for his final pit stop. Staying within the speed limit down pit road, here's John Kernan.
Schrader trying to stay out there on the racetrack after he got a lap down, tried to get his lap back and then hope for a caution. The engine's still running, not out of gas as of yet. As he keeps gunning it. Right side tires have changed. No chassis adjustment made, probably an air pressure adjustment as the car had gotten a little bit loose on him, but Schrader's still sitting here on pit road waiting. Jack is dropped, Kenny is down and away. 19.9 seconds.
So now, with all the pit stops having been made, it's back to Jeff Gordon setting the pace for this event with 284 laps now and of 328 completed. He is about to put the 21 car a lap down Morgan Shepherd running in 8th position at the moment on the lead lap, but now goes a lap down once again. Dale Jarrett is just ahead in 7th position. The old Tomahawk has really been waving here this afternoon because Jeff Gordon has been making a shambles of this race. He leads the Labonte brothers, and we'll be back after this message and a word from our ABC station.
This is the inspiration behind Goodyear's new 50,000-mile Wrangler AquaTread. 2 aqua channels sweep water away for outstanding wet traction. Welcome to the AquaTread family. New Wrangler AquaTread, only from Goodyear.
Here's the choice, Thompson's now or rebuild later. Over time, water invisibly weakens unprotected wood. Used regularly, Thompson's Water Seal Waterproofer helps stop costly damage. Keep up your protection, maintain your investment with Thompson's now.
Class, this is called abstract art, which means everyone sees something different. John, what do you see?
I see McDonald's new taste of the month, the bacon cheddar LT, coaxing me to the golden arches. It's my favorite quarter pound of beef with cheddar cheese sauce, onions, crisp lettuce, ripe tomato, and the savory taste of bacon. But it's only for a limited time, so I should hurry.
Anyone see anything different?
No.
That's what it is, all right. Let's eat.
Monday, it's a new coach. Hayden's daughter dates a man old enough to be her father.
I went out with men who were a lot older than me. Does that bother you?
No, because they're probably all dead by now.
Then Christine visits Brett on a whole new ballgame for a very special appearance.
You've never met a dope as big as me in your life, have you?
An all-new ballgame after Coach, Monday on ABC.
Hey, Pam, what's wrong?
I don't know, David. I don't think you listen to me anymore. Every time I ask you something, you answer with See?
I'm just kidding. You know, I don't think you always listen to me either, though. Like, for example, the car I was customized the other day. I bet you don't remember what I put on it.
I bet I do.
Okay, what size tires?
50 series low profile.
What kind of wheels?
Those were triple gold-plated hammers.
Lucky guess. What color were the neon lights?
I think you said they were hot pink. Real hot.
I guess you do listen. Don't forget that Spikers All-American located in Lakewood, Winter Haven, Tampa, where it does pay to listen.
Florida's #1 independent auto dealer wants to remind you.
Don't make a $5,000 mistake. Hi, I'm Kim Bennett. Why buy a new car when you can buy the same car at Bennett New Car Alternative for less?
Bennett has 2.9% financing on over 893, 94, and 95 makes and models.
If you can't tell the difference, why pay the difference?
Visit one of our 3 locations, Clearwater, Pinellas Park, and Largo.
And remember, at Bennett New Car Alternative, everybody rides.
Kyle Kraska, tonight at 6 and 11 on 28 Tampa Bay News.
Welcome back to ABC's live coverage of the NASCAR Winston Cup Purolator 500 from Atlanta Motor Speedway. Coming up next, right after our live coverage, will be the first race in the 1995 International Race of Champions from Daytona International Speedway. Paul Page and Benny Parsons will be there to describe the action, and of course, we're not going to say who won the race. Let's just say it was one of the most exciting and perhaps controversial finishes that we'll see in a long time.
Well, the IROC cars running at Daytona, I mean, they're always right together, all 12 of them the whole way. And Benny, I think you got a kick out of calling your first IROC.
I really did, Paul. And something like, 12, 15 lead changes in just 40 laps around the Daytona International Speedway. It was a great race. I truly enjoyed it.
That's coming up next at 5 o'clock Eastern Time.
We can't let it go. It was a good early part of the race, but the finish, you got to stick around for that.
It was sensational.
There we see Bobby Labonte in 3rd place, and he's running down his older brother in 2nd place, Terry Labonte.
Blows it in. Terry Labonte's been having handling problems, but I don't know, Bobby may be able to take that 2nd spot away.
And you know, Randy Jordan and the guys up at Hendrick Engine Shop, they've got to be awfully proud because they also build engines for the 18 car.
Wow.
Right now they're running 1, 2, 3.
Pretty impressive. Just 35 laps to go in this one. Bobby Labonte came into this race 19th in the point standings, but that really is no indication of how well this car has run in all races this year. He's had 2 top 10 finishes. Terry Labonte, meanwhile, is 4th in the point standings coming in with 1 victory under his belt already.
Everyone in racing knows Terry and Bobby's father, Bob Labonte. I wonder who he's pulling for right now. I'm sure he's not pulling for anyone.
Yeah, he's remaining neutral.
Exactly.
Here's Ted Musgrave being passed. That is in 20th position.
As a matter of fact, Bob Labonte is the crew chief on Terry Labonte's Blue Grand National car. Used to be the crew chief on Bobby's car.
That interval is definitely shrinking, though, between the Labonte brothers, as you see in APA Field Summary. 4 cars on the lead lap. Saw Billy Standridge going back onto the racetrack. He's been in and out of the pits, also involved in one of our early accidents. He's 27th.
Be a very disappointing day for Bill Elliott.
Yes,
a local hero here.
5-time winner of this at this racetrack, 2-time winner of this race. Since there isn't a whole lot of passing going out on the racetrack, let's jump in some of the cars out here and check our in-car cameras. This is with Brett Bodine. A little bit of glare there in the 3rd corner. Not very bad, though.
That's Rick Mass directly in front of Brett as they go down in turn 1.
Uh-oh, here we go. Battle for 2nd position. The Labonte brothers, Bobby on the inside and Terry on the high side. Here we go, and Bobby has it. Jerry Punch.
A minute ago, Jimmy Maycar, Bobby Labonte's crew chief, radioed Bobby and said, "Hey, what do you have for the 5 car? Can you get the 5? And Bobby said, "Yeah, we'll get the 5 car. We're better at longer run than my big brother Terry." Then Jimmy asked the $64 question. "How about the 24 car? Can you get the 24? Bobby paused for a moment and said, "Are you kidding? He's in another zone. Forget that."
That's right. He's another area code. Yeah. Dick Trickle watches these guys go by him. Oh, crashed out in turn 1. Schrader has hit the wall down in turn 1.
Caution comes out. Schrader at the bottom of the racetrack in the grass. Our 5th caution of the afternoon. And Ken Schrader, who was in 7th position, smacks the wall in the 2nd corner. This coming with a little more than 27 laps to go. And the smoke coming from the right front of that car is the bodywork rubbing on the wheel.
There is one hot individual.
Yeah?
Trust me.
Why is that?
Well, he just hot.
Did he get help out there?
I don't know if he did or not. I really don't know. I looked up and I saw that.
What happened outside of our camera range, and apparently he cut a tire down, Benny. But yeah, he would be very unhappy.
Because he's run almost 500 miles, had a great run going, and to be in this shape at this point in the race is very disgusting.
Here's John Kernan down there as Kenny comes to a stop.
Kenny slides in with the right side, the right front tire dragging the ground. A lot of sheet metal damage and maybe even some bent suspension parts as Kenny's already taken the window net down. A lot of smoke coming from out of the car, out of the cockpit of the car. They finally get the jack under it and they will go to work on it now, Bob.
Well, all this does give the leaders, or actually everyone, an opportunity to come in for an extra pit stop. Let's go to Jerry Punch.
And we will see 4 tires going on the car number 24 of Jeff Gordon. They will not put any fuel in the car. They don't have fuel cans here. They will just possibly tighten the car up slightly. Let's check in up where you are, Jackaroo.
Well, Jerry, it's a case of monkey see, monkey do. If the leader pits and you're on the same lap and you have any hope, you try and stay out. No, you've got to come in, take on fresh rubber. That's the case with Bobby Labonte and Terry Labonte. Let's go back upstairs.
You can see there's only 4 cars on pit road because you have to be on the lead lap pit right now. As Labonte comes out, here comes Labonte, Gordon, Labonte, and Labonte. Earnhardt still in there.
Car still sitting there. There he finally moves away. He was the last one to come in, and he had to go the furthest distance, but still sat there for a little longer than I thought he would, as Ken Schrader sits amongst his smoking car. The hood is up. They're checking suspension parts, hoping to get Kenny back in the race after he hit the wall up in turn number 2.
And we see there's oil on the inside of the hood. Evidently, he's knocked an oil line or something off as the tire was flopping around. See all that? Right now, all they're trying to do is just get the car there. The NASCAR inspector, Chip Warner, telling us, got to get the car on pit road. Everyone's coming in.
Indeed, everybody not on the lead lap, and of course there are only 4 that are, have now come in for some final service in this caution period. There you see the lapped cars: Dale Jarrett, Mark Martin, Morgan Shepherd, top to bottom. Pit road on the right. The 5th place car is Dale Jarrett, and the 7th place car of Morgan Shepherd, and the 9th place car of Mark Martin.
And Mark Martin has worked himself back into this race.
Yes, he has.
He was a couple laps down, but he stopped early.
Still a lap down, but may have a top 10 finish here.
Certainly didn't look that way a few laps ago.
Yep, for sure. All right, 302 to go, completed now, 26 to go here. Can Jeff Gordon hang on to the lead? We'll be right back.
Think you can get top brands and top performance at just any auto parts store?
Get serious. Get Western Auto.
In the middle of my workday, I don't do power lunches. I do power lifts. And when you work out this hard, you better use a deodorant that works hard too and never quits. That's why I use Speed Stick. It gives me 110% protection that lasts all day. And fortunately, all night. Because while I may not have time for lunches, I always manage to find some time for dinner.
Speed Stick, like you, it never quits.
5 minutes.
Now, an oil made just for your hard-working engine. 4x4 from Quaker State. Off-roading, extreme temperatures, towing and hauling. They all make your light truck or 4x4 work extra hard and could shorten its life. Why settle for a conventional car oil? Get 4x4 from Quaker State.
Now, an independent test showed 4x4 superior to leading conventional car oils in protecting against deposits that can shorten engine life.
Brewing beer has been a topic of conversation around my family's house since I can remember. So believe me, I know you might think about drinking before you're 21. But do us and yourself a favor. Please don't. We'll wait for your business.
Welcome back to Atlanta Motor Speedway. Paul Page, I have good news and bad news. The good news is you will be going to Australia. The bad news, you're going to have to go by balloon.
I'm not going to get there this year. Besides, he's going the wrong way.
Paul and the rest of our ABC crew will be in Australia for next Sunday's coverage of the Australian IndyCar Grand Prix. That's at 4 o'clock Eastern, 3 Central Time here on ABC.
Second race of the season, first one 1 week ago. Jacques Villeneuve won the thing.
Yes, very impressively. Well, there's Brooke Gordon, Jeff's new wife, hoping that her husband can hold on and lead these last few laps as he has led for most of the laps today. As a matter of fact, he has needless to say, picked up the 5 bonus points for leading the most laps in this event.
But I tell you one thing, we've got ourselves a shootout.
Yeah, we do.
Because you know Bobby Labonte wants to win this race as badly as anyone.
And so does Terry Labonte and Dale Earnhardt, for that matter.
Earnhardt always wants to win. That's right.
We take a look at the full field summary. You can see that this caution really saved Earnhardt from the embarrassment of getting put a lap down as Gordon continues to go up through his field. And the top 4 cars there, of course, the top cars on the lead lap, all Chevrolets. So that Chevrolet Ford battle that we mentioned at the top of the show has now been handily won by Chevy.
All right, we're set to go once again as you see the rest of the field, and the green flag comes out once again. We are back to racing at Atlanta. And let's see now if Jeff Gordon can do what he has done earlier in the day. Yeah, that is pull away from everybody. Labonte and Earnhardt are right behind, but Jeff appears to be pulling away. Meanwhile, Terry Labonte now takes second from Bobby.
And I think we've established that Terry Labonte is a little bit better on fresh tires than Bobby. Let's see what Earnhardt can do.
Earnhardt looking at Bobby Labonte just ahead, trying to find the right time to make a bid.
If Earnhardt can get this spot, he will. But I think Earnhardt right now has to be thinking about Winston Cup Championship. And he's seen these guys run hard all day long. He'll only take a spot if it's easy.
I think Dale Earnhardt is thinking about Winston Cup Championship every race this year, because if he wins the championship this year, of course, it's his 8th, and that breaks the tie he currently has with Richard Petty.
See, Morgan Shepherd has broken out of that. Oh, man, what a pack of cars that is.
Look at this. 3 wide.
And Elliott is down on the inside, off the pace. Looks like his car is smoking.
Bill Elliott drops off the pace.
Yes, his car is smoking. See the...
Yes, it is.
Is that the left front?
I don't know, but it's got smoke coming from it. Meanwhile, we watch the Labontes once again. And Dale Earnhardt, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. As they come down, there will be 19 laps to go for Jeff Gordon. This will be the 3rd consecutive victory for the Rick Hendrick team. Jeff won at Rockingham, Labonte won at Richmond, and Gordon is leading in this one. And he has a 0.6 of a second lead over Terry Labonte already.
And Bill Elliott turned his car in the infield rather than stall on the back straightaway. That was a very nice thing for Bill Elliott to do.
Here in the early part of the season, things don't appear to be going any better for Bill Elliott than they have for the past couple of years, but I think everybody also believes that that will turn around before too long.
Great race back for 5th spot between Dale Jarrett, Morgan Shepherd, and Mark Martin.
All 3 of those cars going for position, and Sterling Marlin also.
Exactly.
And Ricky Rudd, for that matter. Oh, look at Shepherd.
Mark got in the corner. Looks like he's going to get a little bit sideways. Morgan gave him some room. But man, all the cars going by Mark on the outside now.
Position, although Rusty Wallace is 2 laps down.
All right, now let's watch Mark as he comes off the corner. Well, a different shot. There we see those 3 cars, Shepherd, Martin, and Marlin, all running for position.
And Rudd, although he isn't up battling as close as the others. looks to the inside of Shepard off the fourth corner. On the straightaway, he pulls alongside of Morgan. Can he take the position? Yes. Morgan Shepard, by the way, a three-time winner here at Atlanta, twice in this race. And here is once again a battle for second position between the Labonte brothers. Bobby takes the position from Terry, or tries to, almost did. But Terry battles back on the outside. Yes, Bobby has it. But all that battling for second position is just more good news for Jeff Gordon, who continues to lengthen his lead over these two cars. There he is, and there is second and third.
Jeff Gordon is just hoping the same problems that Kenny Schrader had a moment ago, whatever that was, that caused Schrader to get in the wall down in turn one. Doesn't happen to him.
Now there is almost complete overcast. Sun hidden by the clouds, and that may again spell the difference in somebody handling good or bad. Labonte, running in second position, could equal his best NASCAR Winston Cup career finish. He was second at Rockingham 2 races ago. And now he begins to pull away from Terry.
Bobby Labonte has had a very good race car all day. Jimmy Maycar, all that crew, has done a very good job.
Sure has. He's been in the top 5 all day and in the top 3 most of the day.
There's second. All the money we're talking about.
Coming down now, and there are 11 laps to go. 317 complete. Well, I believe he is pulling in and gaining a little bit, but I don't know whether he has enough. Yes, he is. Yep. Car going down the straightaway here with a lot of smoke is Steve Grissom. I don't think that's going to mean a caution or play any kind of a factor, but Grissom was smoking, just for your information, as he came down here.
Well, don't let Jeff Gordon see that, because that's also a Rick Hendrick engine. Now here's a battle for fifth as Mark Martin is alongside Dale Jarrett. Mark Martin has had a great race car today. Unfortunately, fuel mileage is the bug that got him. Had to stop short a couple times, and then the caution flag came out.
And these are 2 Fords, so they have 5th and 6th position. And Bobby Labonte, Benny, does continue to narrow the interval between himself and Jeff Gordon.
Jeff's just looking at picture.
Sure. As you would if you were out there in the lead. Right. Yeah, I'll just back off here and make it a good race.
Wow.
Look at Brooke. Hoping that her husband can win his 4th NASCAR Winston Cup race.
That's correct.
Charlotte and Indianapolis last year.
Rockingham this year.
Yep.
Ray Evernham watching.
Yep. He too is hoping that this dominant race by Jeff Gordon can continue to the checkered flag. But wow, 7 laps to go. Look how close it is, and look how Bobby Labonte is cutting into Jeff's lead. Don't go away, folks. We could have a real interesting finish here. Terry Labonte has dropped back to a comfortable 3rd, and Dale Earnhardt is in 4th position. Those two are not in a position to battle each other. This is where we keep our focus with 6 laps to go. It's now down to about 8 or 9 car lengths.
Joe Gibb watching his driver.
Joe Gibbs branching out into drag racing in 1995 after some success in Winston Cup racing. And look, it's down to 3 or 4 car lengths now.
Yep. Jeff Gordon did not get to turn 4 that time very well at all. The car pushed up. Evidently, the car has taken on a push after that last tire change.
Bobby Labonte has never won a NASCAR Winston Cup race. He is close to being able to do so, but can he? That is the question. He gets through the corner bending much better than Jeff Gordon, it looks like.
Looks like the Jeff's car has picked up a push, as I talked about.
4 laps to go. Gordon trying to hold off the challenge of Bobby Labonte. The interval still 4 or 5 car lengths.
And you know that Ray Evernham right now is trying his best. Rick Hendrick trying his best to talk Jeff Gordon and talk this car on. Jeff, take it easy, don't push it so hard.
We talked earlier about the young Lions, those who do not have a whole lot of experience in Winston Cup racing. Jeff Gordon is in his 3rd full year of Winston Cup competition. And Bobby Labonte also in his 3rd full year of competition. One of those two will come away the victor here today, most likely. Here is Jerry Punch with more on the story.
Guys, motivation is so very important, particularly at this stage of the race. Jimmy Makar is telling his driver every time he comes by, Bobby Labonte, he says, you can do it. You can do it. Bobby, you can do it. Repeatedly saying those words. And a minute ago, Ray Evernham told his driver, you're the man. It's your race to win. You're the man. Every time he comes by now, he says, 2 laps to go, you're the man.
Well, there is only 1 lap to go. When they come down, there's Ray Evernham talking to Jeff Gordon. Here's the white flag. We have 1 more lap to go. The interval has not shrunk in the last couple of laps. Jeff has been able to maintain this lead over Bobby Labonte. And now as he moves through the 2nd corner and sees the middle of the backstretch, he knows that there's only a half a lap to go. Still separated by about 4 car lengths. Here comes Bobby Labonte's final bid to take the win here this afternoon. They move through the 3rd and 4th corner. Off of the corner onto the straightaway, it looks like Jeff Gordon is going to win it. Yes, indeed. Gordon wins the Purolator 500 by a car length or 2 over Bobby Labonte. There's Terry Labonte finishing in 3rd position and Dale Earnhardt in 4th, and the celebration goes on in the Jeff Gordon pit. Here's Jerry Punch.
And Ray, congratulations. The car ran perfectly.
Well, it did, and I gotta thank God first. I didn't do it at Rockingham, and I gotta thank Jeff Gordon and all these guys second. You know, they make my job awful easy. Hendrick Motorsports gives us great engines and great cars, and Jeff Gordon's about the best driver I've ever seen. And these Rainbow Warriors, I don't know, they make me look awful good. I'm just proud to be associated with them.
What a cheerleader. You kept saying, you're the man, it's your race, don't let them take it. I mean, those last few laps, you guys back and forth talking to your drivers. Hey, outstanding effort. 2 crew chiefs, 1 and 2, and your great friends and motivators.
I'll tell you, this is fun. It really is what racing's all about. When you can have fun and you run second. I told Bobby I'm not normally happy about second, but I'd as soon run second to him if I have to run second to anybody. But before this year's out, Bobby Labonte is going to cross the line in front of Jeff Gordon, I promise you.
Hey, crew chiefs here. Hey, Joe Gibbs, who owns 2nd place car, is standing by with Jackaroo.
And Jerry, the first man to congratulate Joe Gibbs was the winning car owner, Rick Hendrick. And Coach, you said to him,
hey, he keeps giving us the 2nd motor. We want the 1st one. We got you catch Jeff. So proud of Bobby. I tell you what, really, we've been top 5 4-straight races. Unbelievable. He is just absolutely great. I'm so happy for Interstate, Shell, and Champion, and EDS, and everybody that's there pulling for us all the time. General Motors. It's been absolutely fantastic with Chevrolet and Goodyear. We just happy.
Mixed emotions last year when you lost your driver, Dale Jarrett. That's got to not be such a tough deal now.
Well, I tell you what, Dale did a great job for us when he was there and was absolutely fantastic. We think the world of him. But when it became obvious he wanted to move on, we said, hey, we can't do it unless we get somebody great. Bobby was our choice, but he was really encumbered in a lot of other things. We were able to work that out, and we're just absolutely thrilled. He is just, I think, fantastic.
Go celebrate with your driver.
I'm going to do that.
Let's go back to the tower.
They finish here the way they finished at Rockingham a couple of weeks ago. Jeff Gordon wins, and Bobby Labonte comes home in 2nd position. Well, that was closer than I thought it was going to be, Benny.
I tell you what, Bobby Labonte made a great charge there at the end of the race. It almost pulled it off.
He sure did. Good run for Bobby Labonte all day, but the man who dominated this race was, without question, Jeff Gordon. His fourth career win in 66 races, third win for Rick Hendrick in 4 events. Here's Jerry Punch in Victory Lane.
And Jeff Gordon about to climb out of the car. And folks, he is a very popular driver, not just among the fans, but among the crews here as he gets unbuckled. And let's take a listen. Here's the winner of the Purolator 500.
Stay around, Brooke. Don't run off on us.
He got a big hug and kiss from Brooke Seeley Gordon. She is Brooke Gordon now. He called her Brooke Seeley at the banquet, forgetting he had married her just a month earlier. And he celebrates here. Has a nice cold drink after a long afternoon. And Jeff, congratulations on an outstanding day.
Oh, man, it sure was. These guys gave me a fabulous car today. I got to take my hat off to this whole DuPont crew. Man, this thing was on the rail. Bobby gave me a little bit of... He got me pretty nervous there at the end of the race. But, you know, we came here to Atlanta with the same car that we raced in Rockingham. It's an awesome car. Man, we might have to take this thing everywhere. But wanted to come here to Atlanta. We announced our new sponsor, Coca-Cola. They're an associate sponsor. I mean, DuPont does everything in the world, and we're really glad to have them. But that new sponsor that's here home, Coca-Cola, we're really glad to have them, so this one's for them.
Jeff, let's go back to the beginning of the race. Early on, there was some anxious moments. You and Earnhardt down in turn 1. That had to make your heart skip a beat. What happened?
It sure did. You know, we had a little bit better car than he did at the time, and it was really hard to pass once you got, you know, out and the tires got some heat in them, so I wanted to get by him as quick as I could. I saw an opportunity. I didn't want to pass him low. I know what it's like to pass Earnhardt low, but we got by him, and then, you know, he did the famous Earnhardt move and got right back underneath me coming off of 2, and I thought, well, if I can stay outside and race him down into 1, we're all right. Well, it was one of those contests that nobody wins. You know, it's like who's going to let up first, and neither one of us. We drove down real deep in the corner. He slipped up a little bit and got in the side of me. I had to check up a little bit, got high. Bobby got by us, and we had to chase him down. But it was a lot of fun, and, hey, you got to earn your rights when you're racing with Earnhardt.
Let me ask you quickly, you mentioned at Rockingham you were going to go buy a pool now after you won a lot of money there. What else is going on in the house? How about some landscaping? What's the next room you're going to add?
I don't know. We're going to have some accessories now, I guess, but we're going to have us a nice pool, I say now.
I think Brooke was talking baby. How about it?
No babies. No babies for a while. That's we're going to have to win a lot of races before we do that.
How about that, Brooke?
No, it's going to be a while, definitely. A couple of years.
If those wins just keep on coming as they keep smiling here in Victory Lane. Let's go to John Curtin, who's got a family with him, the Labontes. John?
I'm in a Labonte sandwich right now. I've got Bobby right here. Bobby finishing second, Terry third. Bobby, second time this year, you finished second behind Jeff Gordon. You gave it a real shot there at the end.
Well, yeah, you know, the whole Interstate Batteries crew, they got me out of the pits real good. And every time, you know, Jeff set awesome pace there early on. And we really just, you know, didn't know what, it was going to be hard to stay on the lead lap, you know, 4th and 5th place. But, you know, as it turned out right there at the end, the whole Interstate Batteries Chevrolet Monte Carlo crew got me out. And, you know, we're able to get back by Terry. Got me off of turn 4 with after we went back to green and got back by him and just gave Jeff a run as much as I could, but, you know, about run out of time. His car was pushing a little bit, so was mine. So it was pretty evenly matched there at the end, but he was pretty awesome throughout the day.
How hard do you two guys race each other when you know your brother's out there? I mean, you're running for second place with a chance at the win. Would you run harder against each other if it were for the win?
I run harder. I don't know about you.
How about you, Terry? A great run today for you.
Well, it was. Our Kellogg Chevy ran good, and you know, we came home third, so we've got to be happy with that. It was a good run for us, and the guys did a great job in their pit stops and everything, and Bobby got by me there at the end, but we couldn't run with Jeff, and those 2 cars, they just had everybody covered.
Now, do you guys, ask him, he asked you if you give any room, do you give him, like, there on that move there at the end, did he just have a stronger car and get around here? When you saw him get up next to you, what happened there?
Well, I knew he was going to get me sooner or later, and he had been a little bit faster for the last part of the race there, and I got by him there and tried to hold him off, and just couldn't do it.
All right, thank you, Terry Labonte. A fine finish today, Bob Jenkins.
Jeff Gordon, the winner of the race, led 250 of the 328 laps. There were 7 leaders, but a Ford failed to lead here today. A lot more post-activity coming up. We'll be back to Atlanta in just a moment.
you're done exploring the high points of these 95 Suzukis, make sure you check out the low points. 9.9% financing, 0 down on some of our best bikes. And another high point, you could win a Suzuki 4-door Sidekick or other prizes during our Customer Appreciation Day sweepstakes for a limited time. See your Suzuki motorcycle dealer now.
I want more power. I'd like better mileage.
Splitfire doesn't look like any other spark plug. It doesn't work like any other spark plug. 5 extra horsepower by merely installing these plugs. A 4.8% gain in mileage. With Splitfire, you'll get more here, and you'll spend less here. Guaranteed. Guaranteed. You'll get more power and more mileage, your money back. You'll get more here, and you'll spend less here. Guaranteed.
In Normal, Illinois, Gene Goebel is popular with folks who need their car fixed. He does good work, and he doesn't charge an arm and a leg. Because when he needs auto parts, Gene buys a lot of them at AutoZone. You see, the prices are low every day at AutoZone. So a lot of good mechanics like Gene just pass the savings on to their customers. Plus, they can still get the best quality parts. Sure, they know how to do the work right, but they also know how to save money doing it at AutoZone.
Please fasten your seatbelt. We've been cleared for takeoff. The captain has turned off the fasten seatbelt sign. You may now move about the cabin freely. Since we'll be traveling over water, flotation devices are conveniently located. Please be aware that some cargo may have shifted due to turbulence. Thank you for flying Polaris.
IndyCar's best thunder down under. They hit the streets to see who's king of the road in the Australian IndyCar Grand Prix next Sunday here on ABC. Well, the Purolator 500 is over, and Jeff Gordon is the winner. Average speed just over 150 miles an hour. Let's take an opportunity to talk to a lot of the other drivers in the field and to remind you that International Race of Champions is coming up next, so there's still plenty of great racing. But now let's go to John Kernan.
Standing by with Dale Jarrett, and DJ, a pretty good run for you guys today as far as the Ford camp's concerned.
Yeah, we scrapped all day. The guys in the pits and Larry McReynolds deserve this 5th place finish. They worked hard, adjusting the car, making great pit stops, and that was all that we had there. We finally got the car pretty good at the end, and that's just all that we could do. We'll continue to work at it and see if we can't get this Texaco Haviland Mac Tools Ford closer to the front yet.
All right, thank you very much. Congratulations on a fine finish. And Jack Aruta's caught up with Dale Earnhardt.
Well, the first person that Dale Earnhardt wanted to talk to was Mark Martin, who I'm sure Dr. Jerry Punch will be talking to in a minute. But Dale, after the pole position win, everybody thought this was going to be your race, but then some blistered tires and some pushing conditions with the car. You really had to work all afternoon.
Well, the car was a little too tight in the center, but, I didn't have enough for Gordon. It looked like Mark Martin was the best car on the racetrack. He was real strong.
Hey, now, wait a minute. Are you lobbying now with the Chevrolet Ford controversy?
Well, look at it. If he hadn't had problems, if he was the fastest car, he passed me several times, and he was chasing that 24 down. So bad luck, gets you sometime.
The point's so important in the championship this year. What did you just say, Mark?
I just shook my head.
Was you not running good?
No, we didn't.
How many times you passed me?
Just two
Three.
times.
I counted.
3 times.
3 times.
Hey, Benny, guys, the lobbying has already begun down here on pit road in the garage area. Let's throw it to Jerry. Jerry, see if you can get something out of the sport guy.
Okay, now wait a minute, Mark. They are saying that you were the fastest. Your Ford was the fastest car here. I don't know. Did they see the same race I saw?
No, they were seeing a different race. That's just they're trying to guard their territory. They got everybody. The Ford's covered big time right now, and they're guarding their territory. And you can't blame them. I've done the same thing, and when deals are turned around. But those guys were just too much. We had a great run. I couldn't be more proud of this Valvoline Cummins team. They were awesome on pit road. Everything was great, except I messed up, ran it out of gas, and then I got a tire on the car that I was afraid was coming apart, and we're racing for this championship this year, and you can't race for a championship wreck. So I just came in and changed it and lost 2 laps. One of those deals, and there wasn't anything wrong with the tire other than the car wouldn't handle on it. So it's a tough day for us, but we got another top 10 finish out of it. When things turn good for us, look out.
Hey, this guy here was 20th, 2 laps down with 150 miles to go. He finished 9th today. Outstanding effort for Mark Martin. Let's go back to Paul Page.
Yeah, if he hadn't run it out of gas, he would have definitely been up there at the front. The Fords did, in fact, race better than they qualified. The top 10 was split 5 Fords, 5 Chevrolets, of course, won by Jeff Gordon. So here, Jeff Gordon scores the 4th win of his career and drove away handily. We'll be back to talk with more right after this.
When traffic congestion changes, the threats to your car's engine change. That's why Quaker State has engineered intelligent oil. Oil that senses the changing threats in your engine and adapts its own molecular structure for continuous protection. So whenever the driving conditions change, so does Quaker State, the intelligent oil for longer engine life.
Now you can change to the intelligent oil and save $3.60 on a case of Quaker State. See store display for details.
The new Toyo 800 Plus all-season touring radial is Toyo's finest tire, designed for superior driving comfort, a very quiet ride, and long tread life. The Toyo 800 Plus comes with an 80,000-mile warranty. Now, we've got to admit Michelin offers a similar warranty, and so does Bridgestone. 3 superb tires. So, what's the difference? See your nearby Toyo dealer, and he'll explain. Gladly. Toyo tires, driven to perform.
Every day, we all find a way. A promise made, a promise kept, giving it our best.
America's most complete source of auto parts, a national warranty program, and customer service only Napa can give. No wonder more people trust Napa to keep their vehicles running.
We keep America running. We keep America running.
From Darlington to Talladega, through Daytona, Rockingham, and Watkins Glen. In every major NASCAR race, Busch Beer recognizes the pole winner with the Busch Pole Award. Because if there's one thing we know for sure, everyone follows the leader. Busch Beer, proud sponsor and official beer of NASCAR.
The top names in tennis take center court in Florida in one of the game's premier events. It's the women's final of the Lipton Championships, March 25th on ABC.
Well, for the first time, the clouds cover all of Atlanta Motor Speedway. Celebration continues as Jeff Gordon has taken the win here. We'll take a look down through the entire field for you. Labonte brothers finishing 2nd and 3rd. Dale Earnhardt, with that finish, still maintains his points lead in Winston Cup points. And then, talking about things that we suggested at starting, well, Gordon and Bobby Labonte, young Lions looking good, 1st and 2nd position. And then look at the Fords coming in. They came in very strong with the top Ford showing in the field, driven by Dale Jarrett and then Morgan Shepherd. We look through the entire field now.
We can just see how dominant that Jeff Gordon was because John Andretti finished 20th, 5 laps down. Normally, 5-lap down car would be in the 30s.
So there they are, the whole 42 who started here on a quick, though not a record day. And we still have more drivers and fans to talk to. We'll be right back.
Think you can get top brands and top performance at just any auto parts store?
Get serious. Get Western Auto.
Why do I think the Whopper just beat the Wendy's single in a taste test? In my opinion, it's because the Whopper is round and the Wendy's single is square. Get it? Square burgers, pointy corners. Of course, most people would tell you they prefer the Whopper because it's flame-broiled over open flames, not fried like the Wendy's single. But what gets me are those pointy corners hanging out of a round bun. Where do you put the condiments? These are big problems.
The burger that beat Wendy's single. The Whopper Value Meal for $2.99 at Burger King.
We've brought you here for a little chat about your teeth and some good news. An instrument made to get between teeth that you can comfortably use at home. Crest Complete. First, Crest created a brush to fit your teeth, designed to penetrate and clean far between them. Today's Crest Complete goes even farther than before. The better you care for your teeth, the more you and your dentist can enjoy these little visits. Crest Complete. the dentist's choice for rippled brushes.
Now, an oil made just for your hard-working engine. 4x4 from Quaker State. Off-roading, extreme temperatures, towing and hauling. They all make your light truck or 4x4 work extra hard and could shorten its life. Why settle for a conventional car oil? Get 4x4 from Quaker State.
Now, an independent test showed 4x4 superior to leading conventional car oils in protecting against deposits that can shorten engine life.
She was a national treasure. Then she fled her communist homeland. Now, Nadja Comaneci makes an emotional return to Romania. Saturday on ABC's Wide World of Sports.
Right after we finish our coverage here of the Purolator 500 at Atlanta Motor Speedway, it'll be the International Race of Champions, 12 of the best. And let me tell you, Benny and I absolutely love that one. They went back and forth at Daytona, and what's his name won?
I'm going to watch it again. It was so exciting. I'm going to watch it again.
Let's go down the pits again, John Kernan.
Well, a fine sixth-place finish for Morgan Shepherd, but a bit of a hot foot. He burned the heel on his left foot. Morgan, other than that, a pretty good day for you.
It's pretty good. We just had the car a little bit too tight, had too much right front spring in it. Other than that, the Citgo Thunderbird run good all day long.
Well, with the finish, I believe they move up into the top 10 in the points. Let's check in with Jerry Punch. And Sterling Marlin will hold on to second spot in the points. In fact, gained some points on Mark Martin. Sterling, he finished 7th a lap down. Had a quick car, but not quite quick enough.
I tell you, the Kodak team done a good job all day, and we just ran in spurts. Had a good mid-race spurt there, but we adjusted wrong on the car toward the end and got a little too loose and couldn't go anywhere. But we survived, wound up 7th, I guess, and held on second points, and it's name up survival.
Well, Chevrolets didn't lead all day long. Jack Arutz was the driver who was driving and led. It wasn't in a Chevy, was he, Jack?
Yeah, Jerry, and his father calls it a Pontiac, but you led one and finished in 14th position, Kyle Petty. A tough day.
Yeah, we've been behind all week. I can't get around this place to save my life, and I screwed everybody up qualifying, and we weren't in a great pit place back here, so we kept getting back. But we had a good run, a decent run. When you start that far back and you can come up and finish, in the top 15 or 20, then you figure you beat half of them just out of being here, so it was pretty good.
Hey, you always said that your long hair was your good luck, but you're not having very good luck now. Maybe you ought to go for the buzz cut.
No, I'm going straight for, if I go buzz, it's going to be shave and shine, buddy. It ain't going to be no buzz. It's gonna be
oh, boy, here we go. Back up to you.
We see some gray hairs growing alongside that ponytail, too. This week it would give it that way. Well, when we come back, we'll take a final look at the standings here at Atlanta for the Purolator 500.
In Floyd's Knobs, Indiana, people drive from miles around just to see Don Ballard. Because when it comes to car repair, well, there's not much he can't fix. You see, Don's the type of guy who believes that doing a job right and saving money go hand in hand. So he begins each job with a trip to AutoZone. Sure, it's a 20-mile drive. There are other parts stores along the way. But for Don, when it comes to getting the right part for the right price, there's just no place better than AutoZone.
Genuine Draft Rusty Wallace stock car. Awesome. One opened up.
Got a taste for a burger with bacon.
Bill?
Hot bacon sounds good to me. And they do it like I like it at
Now's a good time to rush to McDonald's for a 99-cent bacon double cheeseburger with smoky, savory bacon, or a morning fresh bacon, egg, and cheese biscuit, 99 cents each, just for a limited time. Fine.
Come again.
So do what NASCAR driver Bill Elliott does. Hurry.
In the middle of my workday, I don't do power lunches. I do power lifts. And when you work out this hard, you better use a deodorant that works hard too and never quits. That's why I use Speed Stick. It gives me 110% protection that lasts all day. And fortunately, all night. Because while I may not have time for lunches, I always manage to find some time for dinner.
Speed Stick. Like you, it never quits.
5 minutes.
Put the world's top drivers in identical cars and let them duel at Daytona, and you've got the first test in the International Race of Champions, next on ABC Sports.
Jeff Gordon has taken the win in the Purolator 500. Best finishing rookie was Ricky Cravens. He finished in 12th position. Let's go down pit road and start with Jerry Punch.
Paul, Atlanta Motor Speedway is a fast place, and when you have problems, it can hurt in a hurry. What you're looking at, well, earlier today, somewhere in this mess, this was a Pennzoil Pontiac. Now, it doesn't look like a Pontiac right now. It looks like something you might buy parts and pieces left, but not much left to sell. But fortunately, Michael Waltrip began today in what was a race car here. He ended the day able to walk away because of the safety features of these cars. It's a long race, a fast race, and a safe race. That's what I'd like to say about today's event. This was a car, now it's a pile of junk, but the driver walks away. Let's go to John Kernan.
Well, of course, a little bit of luck involved in that, along with the safety. And speaking of luck, Rick Mast ended his string of bad luck, finishing 11th today, Rick.
I went and talked to Stonewall Jackson last week. He's buried where I live, you know. Me and him had a long talk about adversity. I understand I don't have any adversity now. We finished 11th. Thanks, GI. Thanks, Cole. We'll be back with you. It's hanging there with us.
All right, thank you, Rick. Jack?
Well, John, at the top of the show, we talked about the new breed. We talked about the Ford-Chevrolet controversy. Has anything been answered? I don't think so. Chevrolet is still, well, victorious. Ford is still without a victory. The new breed, they're still scoring victories, and they're still running up front. That's what Winston Cup racing is all about, guys. It's the most exciting sport on earth, and we saw it in the Purolator 500. Paul?
Dale Earnhardt is still the points leader as he leaves this track today. Here's the field summary of the entire field, the final results. Jack perhaps said it, but we're watching some change here in Winston Cup racing. We're watching the Chevrolets doing good. Pretty much what you guys predicted at start came to be.
Yeah, it did, but, you know, not only was I impressed with Jeff Gordon today, but I've been impressed with he and his team all year long. Daytona 500, he had one of the best cars there. Won the race at Rockingham, went to Richmond, a good race car, and dominated here again today.
I think all he has to do is be consistent to be a championship contender. He's had 2 bad races, 2 good races, or relatively bad races, and 2 good races. If he's going to win the championship, he has to be consistent. Dale Earnhardt's worst finish of the year today was 4th. He's consistent. That's why he still has the points lead.
And we're going to 4 tough racetracks from here. Darlington, Bristol, Martinsville, North Wilkesboro. How's Jeff Gordon going to fare at those racetracks? That's going to determine what kind of chance he has winning the championship in 1995.
And don't forget, coming up next here on ABC Sports, more racing actions. The IROC, the International Race of Champions. Benny's going to sit right here and watch the whole thing. I'll tell you what. And it is worth every minute of it. Second, maybe third viewing.
Yeah.
And if you were down at Daytona, don't tell anybody what you saw at the final lap. But do stay for that final lap. And then, of course, a week from now, it'll be the Indy Cars with the Grand Prix down at Surfers Paradise in Australia, the second race of the Indy Car season. Well, the sun comes out just over the horizon as it begins to set. Here just south of Atlanta, Georgia, Atlanta Motor Speedway, a magnificent facility. Those beautiful new condominiums looking superb as they sit over turn 2. And all of this oversees a celebration for the Rainbow Warriors and Jeff Gordon, the 4th victory of his Winston Cup career. The 24 car takes the win here today. Well, don't forget, IROC is next. Our live coverage here at Atlanta comes to an end. I'm Paul Page for Benny Parsons, Bob Jenkins, Jerry Punch, John Kernan, and Jack Aruth. Thanks for spending the day with us, and stay tuned for the International Race of Champions.